face. I love getting punched in the face. Yeah, it's great. Oh, okay.
Yeah, but if the audience laughs at it, gives them something to enjoy
Devil.
themselves with.
LiteratureDev's here? All right.
Liddy D is here.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Liddy D is
Devil
here.
himself.
So,
The Renegade Cut.
Yeah, good afternoon, folks. Welcome to another edition of Smudcast. This is number 144. We are doing an oldie but goodie Renegade Cut. We have a whole bunch of his videos on the docket. This is the one we decided to do. I think there's like 7 or 8 left. That'll take us a good few years because this stuff is obnoxious. He is now just outright just talking about politics. All his other videos are like media politics, sports politics. No, this is just politics.
Politics is everywhere.
What does a sports team tell you about your country's politics?
Yeah.
You see, if you support Arsenal, that means you're supporting Nazis.
You know,
Arsenal has a very deep history of Nazism. In 1925, the team was entirely comprised of fascist sympathizers.
Is that,
I have no idea
why,
if it's true. I am pulling this out my
is that why
ass.
Piers Morgan liked him?
oh no.
Yeah, probably.
The game of football was created by... was originally deep-seated in...
By Italians.
It was deep-seated in violence. And this adheres to the violent state of mind of the right wing. They like guns, and a football is like a gun, as it goes very fast.
What?
People used to beat each other to death to score goals. And it's obviously very deep-seated in masculinity, as they used to be bloated pig's bladders.
All right. Okay. Calm down.
Sorry.
Jesus, Hawk.
Sorry.
Relax. Not that funny.
No, it is. It just sounds exactly like what they would say.
Yeah. Well, that's another story entirely. We have to deal with that. So let's.
Sorry. I do cough sometimes when I start laughing.
Okay.
Sorry, it nearly kills me.
All right. Anyway,
Oh,
so this is Renegade Cut.
Oh,
He
yeah.
is doing his little biopic. I don't know what you call this. He's just talking about himself essentially. So he's dropping the pretenses, going, "This is when I got radicalized into politics."
I got radicalized.
Yeah.
All those evil right-wingers. It's radicalizing everybody.
Yeah. It's the other side that caused me to be extreme on the other side as well.
Yes.
I came
totally
in,
the
I
other
just
side.
started radicalizing everyone.
Oh dear. Anyway, let's get going.
He came back covered in blood.
Oh, by the way, LitDev, you got to leave soon, don't you?
Yeah, in a little bit.
Okay.
30 minutes or so.
No problem. Anyway. Intro.
Message coming in.
And we're taken down.
Vice President,
Yeah.
members
What's
of
with
Congress,
the
on our
marching in his
My fellow
background there in the
Americans.
intro?
While I strongly disagree
I don't know.
with the court's decision, I accept it.
I can hear you, the rest of the world hears you, and the people who knocked these buildings down will hear all of us soon.
Is this supposed to be this way?
When did
Oh,
you
there we
first
go.
Wow,
realize
okay.
that
Pretty sure that was George
coercive
Bush.
hierarchical systems that oppress and divide people are not
Ooh,
simply
very creepy.
broken, but are actually functioning
creepy
as
music.
intended, functioning to serve the top of the hierarchy, maintained to serve those who benefit the most from them? For me, there was no single watershed moment that changed my perceptions and relationship with authority. But looking back over my adult life, there were a series of events and incidents that slowly dragged me from my previous positions.
Aliens.
So he's saying that he was radicalized and that's a good thing because he's talking about not radicalized as in like extremism, Nazis, but he's talking about radicalized as in against authority, against the government, against capitalism.
It's always against capitalism, so I don't know. Maybe he bought a candy bar when he was a kid, and he just kept buying candy bar is oppression to me to not have a full box or whatever. I don't know. Maybe he has some economic model I didn't like. It could be many things.
Yeah.
Candy bars.
Piano music.
Sad piano.
At least it's not the exact same piano music as
I was
everyone
18
else
years old
fucking
in the
uses
year
in YouTube.
2000, which meant that mere months after
That one track.
I was 18 years old in the year 2000, which meant that mere months
Oh, it's gonna be a
after
life story,
entering
isn't it?
legal voting age in the United
Well, at least we've
States,
already
I
stuck at the
concluded
age
my
of
first
18
presidential
rather than
election, as
when
well
he was
as
born.
the first presidential election of the new millennium.
Couldn't he at
I
least
became
just draw on his
interested in
life?
progressive
I was
politics in high
born
school,
as an
and by the
embryo,
time
brought
I
into the world in a
graduated
cryogenics
college,
tube.
the election felt
Do one of those draw my
momentous
life.
that voting was going to be the most important thing I had ever done up to that point. I was registered to the Green Party. at
Apparently, it
first.
doesn't matter whether or not you vote. It just all goes one way either
I don't
either
think
way.
voting is that
Nobody
important,
cares.
but I mean, if you think it is, more power to you. But I just don't care. I mean, it's just voting. Like, what do you do?
There's more
Oh, the-
things
the-
you can do to impact society than a vote.
vote. Yeah.
Oh well, the candidate supposed to be winning is losing. Well, just stop counting and just dump 800,000 votes in the middle of the night. So
I do like how he said that I was part of the Green Party, but then I moved somewhere else. But, oh yeah, so
Wait.
hold on.
There's a Green Party in America? Really?
oh yeah,
Yeah,
Did they get
I
any?
think
They're just
they might
everywhere,
even have.
aren't
all,
they?
Message coming.
all 5 of them. Yeah.
Patching it through.
Did they have any seats?
Yeah, they were a big player in the 2016 election.
I thought you only had
Not
like
that
2
big.
parties and then a third one no one ever really pays attention to.
Yeah.
We have a lot of parties. Only 2 of them matter though.
Yeah.
I guess we have a lot of them, but the main 2 ones are liberal and Democrat. Oh, not liberal, Labour and Democrat. Oh fuck! I've already fucked this up. No, Labour, Conservative.
Labor and
Too much American.
Shiny.
Well,
Okay,
basically,
so you've
Are
got
you
Labour,
really from Great
Britain?
Britain?
Lib Dem, Green Party, L something Scottish one. That's all I
SNP.
remember.
Don't you have in Britain? Don't you just have like a liberal party and like a little slightly less liberal party to pick from?
The Conservatives are a little left wing, but they're also quite corrupt.
Shiny, did you?
Like you have,
did you mention the best
you have
part?
pretty much the communism party.
Hmm?
You got the communism party, and you got the not quite as communist party.
Yeah, but we've forgotten the best party, which is the
The Monster Raving Loony Party.
What?
Yeah,
Well,
that's
that's
the
awesome.
best party. Who
Best one.
else goes with a dress as Elmo?
They're fun to watch.
political vote?
Fun to listen to and laugh at because they're insane.
Yeah, but it's great. They almost won in my town one year.
I want to vote for Darth Vader.
Well, the problem with Canada, we actually have a Green Party, and they do get elected, so they have some seats.
Kanye.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to.
Don't the
I
Green
much
Party get
rather vote for
elected in
Tarkin than
Germany?
Vader personally. Tarkin is a little bit more of a pragmatic bureaucrat and will
Yeah.
actually get things done.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Tarkin's gay.
And he's dead now.
It's just
Again,
your
dead.
opinion.
Okay.
Look,
Joe
Vader's
Crazy.
dead.
We
too.
need to now do a parody of like the US election in another 4 years where it's like Vader running against Tarkin.
Oh,
That would be
Vote
hilarious.
for me.
Do it.
I can build a wall.
We were talking to be
I'll make the Jedi pay
talking to the Republican Party.
Yes.
They'll build a wall to keep rebels out and they'll pay for it.
The rebellion will pay for it. That'd be perfect.
I will take out the rebellion in a swift stroke. I can't do a Tarkin voice for the life of me.
he's too British for you,
No,
Shane.
Peter,
We already established you're not from
Peter
Great
Cush,
Britain.
no. Peter Cush has
Commander
got...
Dameron, I am going to kill all of you. But I will do so with the most poise and flair possible.
Nah,
The replacement they got in Rogue One was kind of.
You've got the inflection,
but that was
still
it.
not quite the same accent.
Yeah.
Well, I think the
We're
main...
close to the accent, but I can't get the inflections.
Yeah.
All right.
Damn British
Regional
accent.
governors.
Joe Crazy. Don't worry, Shiny. Renegade Cut pulled it from the same place. Okay. Taker 610. Howdy. Third from
Yes,
Shiny's
pal.
left. Second from Shiny's left. Immediately to Shiny's left. Shiny and the guy on Shiny's right. What a cast of characters. Thank you. Welcome to the Shiny Show. Glad you're here, Taker 610. Jeez.
The shiniest of shows.
Well, we're joined by a devil, discount
Empire.
Geralt from which it looks like Geralt from this distance. I don't care. Khan, whoever the fuck Hawk is supposed to be.
Hawk is
clone,
Hawk.
And then
it's very easy.
Commander Shepard wearing a Santa hat.
Who is Hawk? Hawk?
A hawk? Yeah.
Dude from Dragon Age 2.
Name and picture, exactly the
I
same.
can't play Dragon Age,
They
so
match
I don't
up.
know and I don't care.
All right.
Most people seem to hate Hawk by all accounts.
Yeah, but those people are wrong. So yeah.
There are also people who don't like Clone Wars, and those people are also objectively wrong.
Yeah, 2D Clone Wars is superior.
Shut the fuck up.
You shut up. I'm objectively
What a
wrong.
great comeback.
No, you.
You're the murderer.
Oh,
No,
I have
you
my
were.
facts. I'm just gonna research.
Oh.
Anyway,
Good
we
times.
learned that
So-
he was part of the Green Party and switched over to Dems. That's fantastic. All right.
But later switched
yeah.
registration to the Democratic Party so I could vote in their primaries and potentially push the party to the left. A pragmatic decision.
So he wanted to join the Dems to keep it more going to the left? I'm not following, but
Yeah.
okay. I mean, generally that's how it goes. People join a party, they have radical views or more extremist views. They keep encouraging people to have more views, etc. So I'm not saying this is a bad idea. It's just this is like pie in the sky sort of concepts.
Yeah, the only problem is I used to be a member of the Labour Party, and I actually got kicked out for not being left enough.
Really?
You know, I think I heard a story. So my granddad is incredibly left wing, and he happened to have the same name as someone else on Twitter who happened to say something about. He said something about Corbyn, and he said something about David Cameron. He, congratulated David Cameron and saying, "Oh, happy birthday!" And then my granddad got kicked out of the Labour Party. That was hilarious. You do so much as say happy birthday and criticize the main the head of the party. All of a sudden, you're just gone. And it wasn't even him, and that's the most hilarious part. It was just some other person on Twitter with the same name.
Yeah, I went to a protest in London, and they started waving hammer and sickle flags, and I went, "Well, I'm not really comfortable with this. This is about tuition fees. Why are there all these flags?" And like the group I was with made a complaint to like the regional manager that I wasn't fully supportive of the movement, and they kicked me out. I was like, "Oh, great, okay." So
it's not a good way to gain support by kicking people out of your party for no fucking reason.
Yeah, and my friend.
Yeah, it's a very bad move.
Well, I've got a
just
friend
makes you look real bad.
Maybe that's why the Labour Party's just been falling apart recently.
Yeah, I've got a friend who's quite far left, as in like he's quite a socialist, and he got kicked out as well for defending me.
Ooh.
It was like, oh, it was just a crap show. And that's why I always I vote differently now.
What was that?
Who's left in there?
Just
keep out.
There's a guy called Phil who does.
At this rate, the left seems like
it.
it's on the track to eating itself.
Well, there's no one left to attack, so they're just attacking each other. So it's all good.
They eat themselves.
Decision. I watched all the dates. I saw Al Gore sigh and groan at George W. Bush's obvious and disqualifying incompetence.
Okay, this was great.
yeah.
This was great. I remember this.
That's pretty accurate, yeah.
What ended up happening? This was the first debate. Okay, so what ends up happening? Debate, 20 years ago was a lot different than debates in America recently. So in this debate, there's two guys. They're just talking about their whatever differences, and George Bush would have his time to talk, and they showed both shots, and he would just be sighing and going, putting his head back and going, "Oh my god," and he looked so ridiculous. Because at that point in time, he did look really like as a Canadian, I'm like, what the hell's wrong with this guy? Like we didn't know what was going on. So the second debate, they told him to not do any head movements or bob movements or anything like that. So it was just so funny because we had nothing else to pick up on as a Canadian observing this. We're going, What was the big problem with that Bush said? We didn't know. We didn't see what the big deal was. But it was so funny to read body language like that. So you pick up on little things, and it does translate to viewership and votes.
Yeah.
Then came election night.
This is how our electoral map looks at 7:34 Eastern Time. Governor Bush far ahead of Vice President Gore.
Not even covering a movie. It's just politics on this one.
And all together, according
This
to
is
Senator
life.
John
Mike, excuse
McCain,
me 1 second. I'm so
Yeah.
sorry to interrupt you. Mike, you know I wouldn't
At least you
do
dropped
this
the
if it weren't
pretense.
big. Florida goes for Al Gore.
And then this.
Stand by. CNN right now is moving our earlier declaration of Florida back to the...
I also wonder if they thought they're going to have a civil
It
war
was my
during this
first
election as
and
well.
nobody could tell me
No.
what was going on. I was only 18, and I didn't understand.
You were
how
only
Gore could
18,
have won
therefore a
hundreds
dumb,
of
dumb kid,
thousands
I
more
guess.
votes than Bush, but somehow was not declared.
Yeah,
the
when you're
winner.
18, it's pretty old. How can you not understand something at 18? You're not
I don't
like
know.
16.
You're 11. You're 11.
If-
You're 18. Okay, you can
Yeah,
understand.
if you were like,
This is
I don't
a
know,
very difficult
16,
concept. You need
maybe
university
12. But like, as an 18-year-old or even 20, you should be able to understand the concepts of elections.
America is a constitutional republic. We don't go by popular vote because our founding fathers knew that there could be some people in the future that could just manipulate the masses. Because that has, guess what? That's been a tactic by tyrants for many, many years. They're able to manipulate the masses into introducing tyranny.
I thought it was after the Civil War that it was added, so one state couldn't overshadow the other.
Yeah. It's about areas of who have the
Because
most people don't just control everything.
The Civil War was started because the half of America felt like it was being overshadowed and not represented enough after they lost the election.
The thing about the slave states and everything, because they're like, okay, we got to add in a non-slave state and got another slave state. There was like state representation in there. We also see that that sort of phenomenon happening, during the French Revolution. This and the Russian Revolution. That the tyrants are easily able to manipulate the masses into doing things for them. So now we have a general election, and then it gets passed on to our electors, and then they do the voting, and their votes are the ones that elect the president.
Yeah,
Makes a lot more sense than the systems that we have in Europe. That's all I can say.
It's there to protect people, like the lesser of the smaller states, like the people that don't have as much representation. So California does not control the federal government.
Everything.
Yeah.
I think it's debatable on if it's better, but it's a long conversation you need to have, because then at some point you have someone, if you're not going by popular vote and instead you're going on state by state vote, someone's vote is being missed out there, because obviously the whole system is so that one state can't overshadow another. But then what if a state has more population than another? Why should the lesser have the same amount of votes as a more amount of people? A bigger group. So like you have a group of 10 people and a group of 3 people. Why should the group of 3 people have a more equal vote to the group of 10 people? So it's not a perfect system. I don't think we'll ever come up with a perfect system for democracy. We just have different ones which work in different ways and have different benefits and different downsides.
And that's why Palpatine's like, I love democracy. I hate constitutional republics. Constitutional republics won't let me go into power, but democracy will vote me right into power. That's why Palpatine loves it so much.
Here's Taker 610. They can just
Didn't he not win by democracy? He won. Well, he subverted the system, and then he just said, "Oh well, we're empire now. We don't really need to vote for this. I just have the power to do it."
Let's not take George Lucas's understanding of politics very seriously, Shiny.
He was given emergency powers.
Yeah,
by fucking Jar Jar Binks of all people.
Jar Jar Binks.
Yeah,
Jar Jar Binks ruined.
I was so disappointed that we're not getting a new Jar Jar Binks story from Disney. Like, they had all those shows, not a single one about Jar Jar.
We're getting a droid story, but not a Jar Jar story. This is
Clankers.
Unbelievable. Who wants to watch a story about clankers? Seriously,
you
do. Dirty clankers.
We know you do.
Roger.
Taker 610. They can just kick you out of a party in the UK. Yeah, I think that's any political party they can do that. So, If you are against their credo, whatever it is.
Well, it's not like a government system that the parties govern themselves.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the Lions Club.
It's the same in the United States, from what I understand.
Sure.
Like the parties are separate, and then they elect their representatives to then go forward in government.
Right. It's like any club; they have their own rules, and they're privately owned. So yeah, it's all very simple.
Yeah.
The reasons are strange, though.
I wouldn't be surprised if I heard the Democrats throwing people out of their party because they disagree with them politically or for very arbitrary reasons.
Anyone getting thrown out of a party for those on those grounds.
Yeah. Well, the main thing I had wrong, what I had wrong with like the protest thing was the fact that I went, well, these flags are going to bring the wrong sort of attention to our cause because people are just going to dismiss us as loons if they start seeing, hammer and sickle flags and Che Guevara T-shirts and books that said Stalin not a bad guy, was he? People are going to think we're absolutely insane.
Wow.
And the Labour Party were like, and they were like, no, that's how we want people to look. I was like, well, I disagree with it. And they're like, well, bye then. And like,
that Stalin fella, he
was
pretty good, right?
He had the right ideas.
He was a really, really forward-thinking person.
Yeah, next time you want to fight for wage increases, don't invoke Stalin. That might be a good idea.
Yeah.
Maybe Lenin.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what? You can make an argument for Lenin, but not as a whole.
Yeah, not as a In fact, let's not involve any communist leaders. Let's just keep them far away from the discussion of wage increases.
There you go. Oh boy.
At the time, I didn't know enough about history to recognize that this had happened 3 times before, and that I was watching it happen for the 4th time. It was like watching a boxing match where everyone knew who really won, but the judges scored it wrong.
That's not how it works.
Oh dear.
No, that's not. No.
Let's not, combine ideas here. That was a boxing between Pacquiao and Mayweather. Very technical match.
Yeah.
Okay.
Passing it through.
I'm not an expert.
Just because you don't understand the rules doesn't mean that they scored it wrong. It means that you don't understand the fucking rules.
Yeah. I just
in a way they thought the reason why we have an electoral college, I think, is because one of the reasons is that mob rule is not really the rule they want to go with all the time.
Yeah, no.
Rule is bad.
Well, let's put it this way: if it was just who was the most popular, then like presidential candidates would never travel to 40 odd states. They just stick with whichever states were the most populous. And
well, they already go to the states which have the most electoral votes.
Go to the swing states. So the ones that there's certain states who will always vote Democrat. Certain states will always vote
Republican. Like California and New York. Like I think they are always Democrat. Like
but what I'm saying is, if it's just like whoever had the most, you'd see like just them going just to California all the time to try and swing stuff. I mean, I know they're not going.
But they already do that anyway, so not much of a change there.
But it's almost like saying Britain, all the politicians just campaigning in London, and then just leaving the rest of us. You're going like, well, doesn't really matter what they vote. You know what I mean? It's just to stop the big. Yeah, I'm just putting it as a hypothetical. Do you know what I mean?
That's hypothetical, but it's still, but it's not even hypothetical. It's pretty real.
Yeah,
it's like, we're going to get more votes over here than over there, so I'm going to go over there, and I don't really see the reason why I should go over there.
Yeah, but okay. Forget what I just said.
No, you were right. It just wasn't hypothetical.
Let's go. Yeah. But the idea behind the systems is to stop just big cities.
Yeah, there is a reason behind the system.
It might not be working, but it's the reason behind it. If you don't understand it, then obviously you've gone out of your way not to understand it, because it's not difficult to.
Either that, or you're completely retarded.
Yes.
There's a possibility.
How it's like someone misscored a game of boxing.
I just want to say one thing. This guy's American, and you've got 2 Brits here who've got a better understanding of the system than he had.
Well, that's because Americans won't stop crying about their own political system.
Thankfully, I don't.
So I have to
just
go,
laugh
okay,
at the
what's this
idiocy.
electoral college thing about? Okay, okay, so it's brought up with the Civil War. Okay. I see why it is there. Okay.
Well, all I've ever heard about the Democrats bitching about the electoral colleges is if there was no electoral college, we would win more elections because more people would vote.
Message coming in.
Therefore,
Patch
it
it
should be
through.
done away with. Like without understanding why it's there in the first place, which is kind of sad. And I have nothing against them wanting to change their constitution to do whatever they want. It's their constitution; they could treat it however they like. But it's there for a reason, and if they don't understand that reason, they're gonna get really pissed off the next election cycle when they do get their way, and all of a sudden they don't.
Yeah.
Anyway, easy stuff to talk about. Let's just see what he has to say about his radicalizations. I still haven't got to his point yet. So, Joe Crazy, it's usually centered around urban versus rural areas. That's part of it. There's lots of reasons why people vote a certain way. All kinds of reasons. Jake the Surgeon, I was radicalized when I first watched Renegade Cut. Gulags are truly the answer to these people. Thank you, Jake. Always nice to know you have the gulags on the mind. That's Jake's solution to many things. Gulags are already going to smell. All right, thanks. That's good to know.
Like, how you stop takeaways being late? I don't know, gulags.
Just throw them all together. There we go. There's the problem. Oh boy.
Well, they're not going to be late with your food again.
Argument in favor of the electoral college.
Yeah, true.
At the end of the day, it's a system that defies the will of the people, and that trumps any other argument.
No, it doesn't. I mean, I think there are arguments to be made for and against the electoral college, but there is no "I win" argument at all. You have to actually just explain why, and then look at the positives and the negatives of the system.
Sure that if electoral college I'm pretty sure that if electoral college has helped Democrats beat Republicans by sheer number, by sheer electoral votes, he would not be crying against the electoral college right now, because the electoral college has helped Republicans win when they wouldn't have by popular vote. So if the shoe was on the other foot, I'm pretty sure he would be praising the electoral college right now.
That's the thing.
Did he say defies or define the will of the people?
Defies.
Defies.
This is the same attitude, though.
No, Ben.
It's the same attitude I noticed online about the supporters of Biden, and I don't know how that works with politics, but none of the Democrats that I've noticed care about vote recounts or auditing votes or any of the hearings that have been going on in the past few weeks. And it's newsworthy. This is a big deal. This is like people have somehow spiked the vote on multiple states, which sounds like a crazy conspiracy. But when they show how it's done, it's like, oh yeah, that's totally easy. You just ship in a bunch of votes, they take them, they scan them, you're done.
Yeah.
And they show.
I mean, it's like in Peterborough in the UK. They just shipped in 4,000 votes for Labour, and they got caught doing it. And then they found out they've been doing it for years. But just no one. No one had bothered to even look at it. They just kept it under wraps.
Here, they won. And therefore it doesn't matter anymore. They don't care if it's a fair election as long as they win.
I saw a video on YouTube recently. They showed how the systems, the digital systems they use for scanning, they could change the vote digitally.
Yeah.
Yeah, in fact, that's happened. Several times that happened in this election. We found some glitches, quote unquote glitches, several of these, at least 3 or 4 that I know of, that had this switched a couple of thousand votes from Trump to Biden. Our bad. And switch it back to, once you switch them back, there were instances where once they fixed these glitches, that Republicans on the lower level Republicans that were like I don't know, some other runnings and other elections, they went from losing to winning because these glitches were fixed. Our bad. It must have been a total human error or something. All
I know is it's gone from there is no fraud whatsoever to, well, there was fraud, but it's now not enough to change the election. I'm like, that is a big step.
It's gone from, there's no fraud, you guys are just having a right-wing conspiracy theory, to, it's not enough fraud, okay? So, there's fraud, there's not enough fraud. Okay, there's not enough fraud to flip the...
The European news network is still full of these articles that Trump is still clinging to power with these fake claims. But like, I just hate that I can't trust any media here at all.
Message coming in.
You really
Patching
can't.
it through.
I have to ask an American, like, actually, what is happening there?
Yeah, everything we receive in European countries is
the
very
mainstream
much
is
through
just
a particular
terrible.
lens. Well, because partly a lot of American companies and news companies, the news that they say is going to be partly the news that we hear, and then that's going to be through another lens. So it's a lens through a lens, and we're not receiving anything directly, which is why
we
so
have
much
this
of the
trustworthy
population.
reporter from the CNN. We're gonna have only this source for this news.
All I know is something's obviously going on because Sky News and BBC News are now trying to bring up Greta again. She always gets wheeled on to cover up other news stories.
Greta?
So something has to be going on. Yeah, Greta Thunberg. Yeah, she's now.
Remember Greta?
No.
Yeah,
Stop.
I'm just like. So there's definitely something going on in America because Greta's now
Was she
being
the girl
front and
that
center.
sailed all the way to America?
Yeah.
No, she sailed to
Came back
Brazil.
with a private jet.
She sailed to Brazil for a climate change meeting, and then they messaged her saying, "Oh, it's actually in Madrid, in Spain." So I don't know which celebrity did it. Got her a charter plane. She flew all the way back, but the fuel consumption that they use on the plane meant that the boat trip she took was absolutely pointless because it emitted 800 times the amount of fuel she would have saved just getting the plane first time. I just went, great. I was like, wonderful, this is great. You've just wasted wasted a month.
Terrible. The thing is, like, taking the boat in the first place was stupid anyway.
Yeah.
She
said the
amount that planes and stuff will usually cost. That's nothing in comparison to the actual size even a country will make, and even a country like the United Kingdom or even America is nothing compared to the amount that China is making. China is one of the biggest problems in global warming, and yet no one fucking does anything about it. And yet we're the ones that are supposed to make the sacrifices, and China still does nothing.
Okay.
China makes a lot of money for the movie industry.
Yeah. I mean, come on, look at Mulan, that made a lot of money.
Yeah, and Terminator Dark Fate, that was amazing.
Oh god, that reminds us. We have to watch that.
And that. It seems as though, like, it still reminds... I have heard nothing but awful things.
Well, you see, China's a minority, that's why you can't say anything bad about them, because otherwise it'd be racism.
But there's more of them than any of us.
Still a minority to these people.
That didn't stop people.
Minority means not white.
It didn't stop people from complaining about the lesbian kiss being cut from Singapore theaters. Theaters from Rise of Skywalker.
Did it really matter?
Oh, I thought you were going to say it was real.
But they complained about it because they're insane.
Hey, now
it was nothing in the story. It was just thrown in there anyway for no reason. No one cared about these characters. It would be even out of nowhere for, like, I don't know, a male and a female characters to kiss. It's like, this is out of nowhere. Were these two a thing? Who are they? Were we supposed to care about them? I don't know.
All right, I gotta catch up on super chats. And hey, Glib, how's it going?
It's good.
All right,
I came here to make fun of communists and English people.
Oh, you are right.
Fuck yeah!
Okay.
Just ready to go. I mean, we have almost going to get to his argument, but holy crap, there's a lot to go over already. Let's just go through some super chats and we'll get to the video again. And then Glib.
Does Renegade Cut know that 9/11 was an inside job?
Oh Jesus!
Let's not go that. Glib, let's slow into this, okay? All right.
9/11 was an inside job. I seen loose change. I know it's down.
Oh. Okay.
George Bush doesn't care about black people.
There we go. Canadian and Kanye. That's brilliant. Thank you.
The funny thing about George W. Bush specifically, is that he was absolutely universally hated by everybody by the end of his presidency. And now he's the superstar. Everyone's like, oh, we should listen to George W. Bush again because he hates Trump. People, I know Ben Shapiro is making fun of the fact that in a few years we're gonna have a new Republican, and new Republican is going to be the next Hitler, next Nazi, and then all the people on the left are going to say at least Trump didn't. He was outright. He was honest about his racism. This guy's trying to hide his racism all over the place. Like they're going to start praising Trump, and the next Republican comes up, and they're going to say though that at least Trump wasn't as bad as this guy. He was not as bad as this guy. This guy's really bad. You think Trump was bad? This guy's way worse. Because everyone hated George W. Bush, but he comes out against Trump, and suddenly he's the next guy you should listen to. Does Renegade Cut know that part? He's a hero now.
Let's put it this way: if Mao was still alive and came out against Trump, people would be like, "Oh, this guy's all right." I know he killed millions of people, but yeah, he's okay. He doesn't like Trump.
Isn't that what Winnie the Pooh says?
Yeah.
The book, the word of Jesus, according to Xi Jinping. Isn't that what we want?
Duh. Okay.
Prison camps and slavery and social credits.
Oh boy. Well, here's a great little super chat. This is fantastic. Evergiants, at the very least, as Americans, we don't have to wear wigs for formal proceedings. I don't know why that's a good thing. We kind of like the wigs. I think Canadians and UK
I think it's stupid.
Hide your syphilis.
What? UK law is wearing wigs.
Get a good haircut.
Nine times out of 10, if you're ever in front of a judge, they won't be wearing a wig. It's only for like a high up.
Yeah, like constitutional hearings or stuff like that. Yeah, I've seen that a few times.
Yeah, I've stood in front of a judge before and he wasn't wearing a wig.
Right.
Had an angry face, but not a wig.
All right, Taker 610. I get the higher score in golf, but I lose. How do numbers work in golf? We don't know. 210.
High numbers, just whack a ball.
She says, "What? It's so easy." 210-505. Doom Guy didn't get in Smash yet, but we get another anime sword boy. Yeah, that was, very mixed reaction on Smash. After that point, it's like, yeah, I don't care anymore. It's just whatever. Jake the Surgeon.
Also, one thing he's forgetting is that I think, if I remember correctly, I'm not a legal scholar on this end, but I think the original terms for being able to vote that you had to qualify to vote. Landowner, something like that, and
only
then
white landowning males.
Yeah, well, at first, and then
only men and white people were originally the people who could own land. So
because men and white people were the only people.
You had to take on responsibilities. Like you qualified to vote. You had to take on you had to be part of like brigades and all kinds of stuff. So it wasn't just you were born and then you get to vote. It was you had to take on several responsibilities within the community to also qualify to vote in the beginning. So this is why, and Steven Crowder goes over this also, but this is why a lot of women were opposed to women getting the vote, because they didn't want the responsibilities that came with voting.
And they didn't want to go to
also
war.
They're crazy and they're prone to madness.
Yes,
we can't have that.
The men
repeal the amendments.
Yeah, the men.
Being a woman disease.
Women are not crazy.
They're not crazy. They just have the propensity to be crazy, and it involves voting.
And the right of conscription was only for men, so they were the ones who were voting for it. Women did not. So there were many reasons why this was occurring.
There's a lot of things. Yeah,
a lot of history. Yeah, so we don't know the entire information, but now women can join the war and they can lose their lives, and that's good for them. Whatever they want to do.
And that's what's ruined our society, basically, right?
We should align our society along the lines of lobsters.
We should.
I see no problems with that.
Okay, let's keep going. Jake the Surgeon. The Electoral College is far from perfect, but it helps deal with the tyranny of the majority. Every election will be decided by a handful of states. That's true. That's
absolutely
one of the points, one of the major points.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's the problem.
I said earlier. It's exactly the point I mentioned earlier that the tyranny of the majority. What are the HWs always going on about? How the majority are tyrants, and they're wondering why we like the electoral college so much. But unfortunately, I have to go. I have my private stream in a few minutes, so thanks for having me on, Smud
All right.
If you're still on when I'm done, which you might be, I'll hop back on.
All righty. Thanks a lot, buddy.
All right.
Talk to you soon.
Later.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Lit. See you, Lit.
All right. We have one more, and we'll get back to the video. Joe Crazy. Careful. YouTube's new policy will terminate your channel if you ask questions. Yeah, I know. There's certain content. If you want to even talk about the American election and you have some sort of question about the validity of votes, you are going to get that content banned. I don't know why.
Like the fact that they tried to steal the election. That.
Don't ask questions. Just consume product.
Ever since Twitter started doing
Glib's
that,
the 6-shooter.
What is that exclamation point with the circle around it? It's like this statement is under question.
Election fraud. Yeah.
I was like, what? What's that?
Yeah.
COVID-19 election fraud.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just. This is all I know is the people who are saying this is fact and everything have now had to go back on themselves to say, oh no, it's this now. I'm like, well, obviously you're not very good fact checkers since you found out to be what you said was false 2 weeks ago.
They're fact checkers like Winston from 1984. They're not interested in checking to see if the facts are true. They're interested to see if the facts are getting out. You have to stop the facts from getting out. That's why you have to check them. Oh, that's true?
Yeah.
Oh, can't say it on YouTube.
There's a lot of
Hello, CCP?
But
yes, we need to delete this YouTube channel, X22 Report. They're talking about QAnon.
Yeah, it's like, was it my friend called me crazy for asking about the US election because he said, well, BBC News said there's no fraud and you should believe everything
BBC News said something. Oh,
yeah.
It must be true.
No, hold on. And he's saying all this and I went, mate, listen, first of all, I'm not crazy just because I asked about the US elections. And second of all, you believe in ghosts. Let's not start saying who's crazy here and who we should believe.
After all the dead people that voted in the election, I'm starting to believe in ghosts as well.
Yeah, I was just like, let's wait and see what the facts are, and not just listen to BBC News because they do lie a little bit.
Oh boy!
Well, the dangerous part of only getting your news from one source.
Well, even the main. Like 60 Minutes, I think, is a pretty good program, but they had the guy who was Trump's technical head of whatever. I can't remember what his title was, but he got fired as soon as he...
Head of sucking dicks.
Head of security.
That's me.
Whatever the security thing was.
Yeah.
And he was saying there's absolutely zero... This was the cleanest, most accurate voter registration ever. It's like, what are you talking about? Like, how do you know?
Oh, yeah. It's like, yeah, was it... Bar is it when there is no sign of fraud and like the Department
you
of
didn't
Justice
say that. You have to
you
have to go back and check the statement. It's not that cut and dry.
What did he say? I'm not saying.
I'm pretty sure that he was saying in regards to his investigation that there is not.
Yeah, but I know. But someone's come out and said, but we've checked and it doesn't look like you've even done an investigation.
We need the fact checkers right now.
Yeah, I don't want to say stuff wrong.
Well, the investigation for what's going on is ongoing because they're still releasing new information. There's still new hearings. You have the lawsuit that's going on that's going to the Supreme Court. It's a strategy that's being employed by Trump's team.
But what if he's gonna run out of time? Is it gonna?
He's not gonna run out of time.
Okay. They can keep.
I trust you.
I mean, if they run out of time, then there's going to be an interim. There'll be an interim president. It'll probably be the Speaker of the House.
Yeah.
Or whatever. I'm not exactly sure how that works, but I know that they'll have an interim president if they have to. But that's why the Supreme Court is now being they have it on the docket so that they can discern if there's a constitutional argument that has to do with disenfranchisement and if it has to do with ruling by fiat because they changed the rules in one area but not another area. And it's a really interesting question. But the bigger thing that's the problem is that you have all of these liars in the big media tech people that are like, oh, it's the most secure election ever. And 5 minutes before that, they were going, Russia hacked the election last time. It's like, what changed? Absolutely fucking nothing. In fact, there was more mail-in votes than ever. So how they can say that this is a secure election, but the last one was totally fake because Trump won just is bullshit.
Yeah, that's crazy. Like 4 years they spread that news and... Now that it's
I like how it was 4 years of Russia this. There was something wrong with the election, and then 2 minutes after this election, it's like, oh, everything's fine. Don't worry about it.
Oh yeah, don't look at Hunter Biden's shit because
he's come back up in the news again, hasn't he?
Well,
we will ban you if you talk about it.
Was it last month? It was all his hot laptop with all his nudie photos. Like,
because he was probably.
He's probably sleeping with his
up.
fucking niece. He's probably doing all this shit. There's visual confirmation that he does cocaine. So if anybody here has ever done crack and gone to jail, you've gotten more punishment than Hunter Biden ever will. This is a total piece of shit. Sold out the entire government. 2.8, what is it? Hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of diamonds given to him. Was assigned to Burisma, the gas thing. Didn't speak Ukrainian. Didn't know anything about gas. And then when he was exposed and under investigation, they fired the prosecutor. They fired the prosecutor that was going after Hunter Biden on behalf of Joe Biden. And he said he was going to withhold millions of dollars worth of supplies and stuff for them. So it was a quid pro quo. Meanwhile, Trump was impeached for a phone call that involved going after Hunter Biden, going after Joe Biden, saying that you need to go do something about that. And he was talking about withholding some information or withholding something that was relevant to something else, which is really interesting because they tried to impeach him for something that Joe Biden actually did. And so he showed Joe and his family that were involved should be tried for treason and hung. Period.
Okay, let's get back to Mr. Renegade Cut here and his joys of...
This is how I got radicalized, because 9/11 was an inside job. Dab, 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 dab.
One in Wyoming has the relative weight of about 3 votes, whereas 1 vote in Pennsylvania has the relative weight of less than 1 vote. That is not democracy.
It's called republicanism. That's how it works.
Yeah, it's a constitutional republic.
Actually, I disagree. This is exactly how democracy works, and it shows why democracy doesn't work. You can game democracy very easily. You can manipulate low information voters, which is why they want to give the vote to as many different people as possible, because they want to astroturf the entire election.
Well,
and something that you guys were mentioning earlier.
People like who would be on their side, like, oh, we support the immigrants. Let's give it to the immigrants.
Well, the immigrants are there because they brought in the illegals. They brought in 11 million people so that they could get the votes. They're the ones that want the felons to get the vote because they know that they vote for their candidate. So you can game the system as much as you want.
Yeah,
I thought felons would be
majority vote,
at least in their perspective.
All you got to do to get the majority say, "Oh, we'll lower taxes and raise wages," and and that'd be it. That'd be what every single political person would say. For there'd be nothing else, and it'd just be
Those are the bad guys. We're the good guys. The bad guys are the ones that want you to have individual freedoms and rights. The good guys are the ones that give you free stuff in exchange for your subservience.
Yeah.
Please join the Democrat Party today. And it doesn't even matter if you're...
We'll give you an Xbox. We'll give you an Xbox. It's like, it's very easy to get the majority on your side.
Message coming in.
Someone was mentioning the California, like, it is no risk to go red or whatever, but that's because we have fraudulent elections. It's because, you're choosing between one Democrat or another Democrat. Which one do you want? Do you want the young Latino Democrat, or do you want the old Jewish lady? I don't want either. I want somebody that's going to have personal responsibility and not play identity politics. But it doesn't matter because we have rigged elections. It's all digital. You can't confirm to see if you voted for who you actually voted for. We have the mail-in voting thing. It's a bunch of bullshit. And it's run by Chinese spies.
I don't like, a bit off topic, but I don't understand, like, why couldn't the Republicans, like, make a better system? Like, or is it not up to them?
Think about it this way. It's like you're in government. You get into government.
Who a system? That's the thing. It's like, well, if they give me a better system, and then maybe we'll think about it.
You get into government, and then you're paid off because the person that was financing your run is like George Soros or whatever. And then why would you go against what they want? They want to keep the money in politics so that they can keep buying off politicians. They don't want term limits because they want to keep running forever. They don't want better voting systems because they get in through they get voted in through rigged elections.
That's every politician. Every politician doesn't want the money out of politics because they gain the money.
So maybe democracy doesn't work. Dab, 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 dab.
Yeah, what was it? Was it Churchill who said that democracy is not a good form of government, but it's the best one we've got?
The best we've got is the way that it is, yeah. And that's why you design a constitutional republic that disenfranchises as many tyrants as possible by splitting up the powers.
Yeah.
But then again, there's the problem in America is in that a lot of the power is so centralized that it makes it much easier to corrupt.
That's because that was the anti-federalist argument, and the argument that it was against Alexander Hamilton by Thomas Jefferson, who ended up being right because, as we see right now, it's a states issue with the elections.
Yeah.
I'm learning a lot with this, Glib. With the electoral college, I suppose it's a similar problem that I had with the European Union, because it was based more on so if you have a population like say the rest of Europe, the rest of Europe theoretically believes that 14 years old should be the correct way, a correct legal age of consent, and then someone says in the UK, like, no, that's wrong. No, we don't want that. And it says, well, too bad. The rest of us are voting for it. We're having it. And then it's like, well, that means, okay, we don't want that, but yet now we have to have that because of the difference in culture, you're forcing it onto us because you have a centralized government. And I know that's a bit of an extreme. I always love to use extreme examples to show, it's like when you scale something up, it's much easier to point to the problems in it.
Yeah.
But it is just an example of, if the rest of Europe wants something and a small amount of Europe doesn't want something, it's like now you've just forced it onto the group of people who didn't want it.
That's what you get.
That's the problem with the centralized government.
That's what you get for losing World War II and embracing communism. That's what you get what you deserve, Europe. Welcome to hell.
We didn't exactly embrace communism.
Well, what's the European Union besides socialism?
The European Union is exactly what it's not democratic.
I don't think Britain.
The communist bloc kind of fell apart.
The funniest thing about that is like reading old spy stories about the Cold War and seeing how the Brits lost all the time to the Soviets, and how like the Cambridge Five infiltrated.
We weren't very good with it. Yeah, but you have to remember, during a lot of the Cold War, until Maggie came around, there was a lot of sympathisers in British politics.
Well, you want to know the real cardinal sin?
There was a lot of Labour Party governments.
The real cardinal sin of Britain is that you let Queen Elizabeth II be the monarch, because she basically destroyed your country. Sorry.
How?
Because you don't have an empire anymore, and that was being held up by the patriarchs. That was what you needed to survive as a nation. The Queen has basically
forcibly held on to places which we then gave independence. So what you're saying is we should forcefully keep control of America then, Glib?
Oh, you should have. That's what you were deigning to do, and we didn't allow that with the French. And
we beat you.
We beat you. That's what you get. You get what you fucking deserve. Woo!
We beat you because we're better soldiers than you guys are.
No, we beat them because their hierarchical system was not functioning properly for them.
No,
which is the reason why
you beat us because you had Mel Gibson. That's it.
We had Mel Gibson and we had Lafayette, and those two together.
All right, Hollywood movie out of it. All right, let's keep going. This is off the rails. Anita Jones, it is proven that there was fraud. Then the very foundation of America has just been shattered. We work because one guy peacefully hands power to the next. I actually mentioned this in the chat, I think a month ago. I was saying, if this is true, this is going to be the equivalent of a bombing of Pearl Harbor event, where something really changed that caused America to drastically react to something. So if that's the case, and we're still waiting for the hearings to be finished, we're still waiting for the Supreme Court case to be filed and having its moment. So yeah, I'm waiting. Everyone else is like, oh yeah, Biden's the winner. Yeah. Everyone else is like, yeah, we'll go. Just wait. Just, hold on.
Gore won in 2000. Trust me, guys.
Yeah, but the thing about with Biden, is Trump's sending out tweets, he's doing his rallies, and a lot of the news stories about his lawsuits. And then you go, well, what's Biden doing about it? And so far, all he's done is trip over his dog and sprain his ankle, and that's about the extent of Biden. Oh, and he's now Times Person of the Year.
No. There's two Times Person of the Year, but they're counting
the same
as one.
person.
The same person.
Joe Biden and a woman.
Female Joe Biden.
Female Joe Biden. No.
They already called it a Harris and Biden administration. Biden already said on camera, we put together the most comprehensive voter fraud organization since last time. And then he also said that there would be a time where Kamala and him would disagree on something, then he'd get sick with something and step down. So it's like, because he's so demented and has such severe Alzheimer's, he basically is giving away the playbook as they gave it to him. And the only way that he can function is if he has something in his ear or somebody is coaching him with pre-read responses.
Yeah. But Glib, response of, come on, man. See,
come on, man.
Come on, man.
Corn Pop was a bad dude.
Why?
Okay.
All there's no positive Biden memes and there's a billion positive Trump memes. Tell me who won the election for real.
Let's just leave the bashing to Biden and Trump to another stream, guys. It's going to take a long time. So, Dollface, thanks again.
12 hours later.
Yeah, no, it's not going to turn out well. The current voting system is not ideal, so clearly we should have some kind of vote to determine what kind of voting system to use. Let's vote on voting.
There you go. Let me tell you that there's...
Didn't we have a vote about our voting system?
Not as far as I can remember.
Let me just say that the people that created the American Constitution were some of the most brilliant men of their time, and that they are unmatched today when it comes to politicians.
Actually, Shani, how old are you again?
20.
You've been too young for the vote. Yeah, we had a vote about changing the voting system. And the British public decided to stick with how we did it, and no one spoke about changing it, even though people still moan about it.
Well, there's always going to be someone who moans about a system. You can never have a perfect system.
Proportional representation, I think it is something that was brought up.
Yeah, there was first past the post, then there was proportional representation. That's one of the reasons why, one of the main reasons actually, why our liberal federal government got elected. And then, like 3 years later, they went, yeah, we're not going to do that. So I
always laugh when they say about proportional representation. They always use the Weimar Republic as proof of how it was successful, and I'm like, you do know who used that to get complete control of a country?
Yeah, that's
I'm not going to say his name, but
that's how you get
do know this person. Yeah, it's like
okay.
Vote Glibler, 1933.
Yeah. Okay, Space Wolf Black Maid. Democracy dies when the state realizes that they can buy off the idiot with the money they tax from them. Communism from the top, capitalism for the rest.
It's always elites. It's always somebody with a disproportionate amount of money or power that is trying to corrupt other people.
That's why you had the Ross Perot pop in, who had the only chance of ever competing, and now you have Trump, who had the only chance of ever competing because he uses his own resources to campaign. Not to say that the loving majority of the left for Hillary Clinton, by virtue of being a woman, was about as much love as she got. I don't think too many people enjoyed her or liked her as a candidate.
We all know it's going to be Bernie in 2024.
Really?
No, he's going to be a robot like in Futurama. Skip.
I don't think he's
Perot was a reform candidate, and Trump was a reform candidate in 2000. So we're on our way. The populist rich guy that fights for the poor man is a very popular trope. Very, very popular.
All right, Alan Coleman. This is the guy who defended 2016 Ghostbusters. His voice sounds familiar. He sounds like all the other guys. Come on. He has the courtesy to acknowledge the left can be radicalized, right? Well, that's exactly what he's getting at. So he started off as a lefty in high school.
Well, he's considering it to be a good thing, like radicalizing them against like society.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's seeing it as a good thing or a bad thing. He's just sort of saying.
Well, no, but he's saying that he's been radicalized. And I would assume that he would view that as a good thing. As
obviously.
He's against capitalism and he's against hierarchies and this, that, and the other.
But he's just sort of stating as fact what happened to him. He's not saying this is like good or bad. Obviously, to him, he thinks it's good.
I think he's definitely going to be going that route. It's Renegade Cut.
That's going to be in the. It's definitely going to be as a positive.
I've watched half this video, and his next point is very strange.
All right.
The first thing he complains about.
Let's try to get to that point, because we've been talking for a while here.
Still, that's not an error in its design. If the writers of the Constitution wanted the will of the people to be absolute, then the Electoral College would not exist. So, the Electoral College, in occasionally defying the will of the people, is functioning as intended.
Yes.
I tried to put that out of my mind and do what everyone else was doing the day after the election.
Sucking their
Focus
thumbs.
on Florida. In the midst of the recount, the State Attorney General, Katherine Harris, inexplicably declared George W. Bush the winner. Harris was also the
Inexplicably
Bush campaign co-chair. Funny that. The Florida State Supreme Court didn't have enough Republicans for the Bush campaign's liking, so they brought this matter to the United States Supreme Court.
Oh, to their liking. It wasn't that they legally had to, was it, Renegade Cut? You fucking liar. Right?
Also, Kay Harris, don't trust women with that name.
And they put any attempt at recounting. I was stunned.
Oh, so you're in favor of recounting? I wonder what he thinks this time. Somebody go to his Twitter. Tell me.
A series of 2001 reports showed that if all the disputed ballots had been counted, Gore probably would have narrowly won Florida and therefore the presidency.
This is gonna fucking come back to haunt the Democrats for decades after this. When this happens again, when they go over it again, it's gonna be great. It's gonna be great.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to it.
Coming in.
Stunned
Patching
again.
it through.
Years later, I learned that in addition to all of this,
it's
Bush's
Jeb!
brother, Florida Governor Jeb,
please clap.
conducted a voter suppression campaign leading up to the 2000 election, which
fucking Jeb! Woo!
specifically targeted African Americans. The fix was in from the beginning.
Oh my god.
Blacks!
I was 19
Jeb went
years
after the
old
blacks.
when 9/11, and it has been.
Just so you guys know, I'm blocked from Renegade Cut. I don't think I've ever actually messaged him or knew who he was on Twitter. So if anyone knows what he's posting these days, please tell me.
He's such a fucking disingenuous cut.
Oh, hold on. Let's have a...
Let's go with that.
I mean, I personally don't care.
Keep going. I don't care what the fuck he has to say on Twitter.
I know. I'm just saying. Is that there's a lot of people who block me on Twitter. I don't even know them. I never messaged them. I don't know how this has happened. I'm assuming this is the block list thing that what's her name made years ago, where if you're even associated with
Jebby Nicholson.
No, it was that giant fat girl who was Linux whatever. She was part of some sort of Linux club, and she made this own block list. I think it was Gamergate.
Oh, I know who you're talking about. Yeah, but I don't remember her name.
Yeah, I can't remember either. Anyway.
Oh dear Lord. Yeah, you're not missing much, Smud, on his Twitter.
Okay.
But is he saying that the Republicans are trying to steal the election by counting all the votes or something?
He's not saying that, but you definitely know cops are bad, Proud Boys are bad, Kevin Sorbo is an idiot.
Oh yeah, because he believes in Jesus.
Kevin Sorbo is a terrible filmmaker. That is true. That is indisputable.
I want Ben and Jerry's Kevin Sorbet.
Okay. Alan Coleman. This is the guy who defended 2016 Ghostbusters. His voice sounds familiar. He has the courtesy to acknowledge the left can be radicalized. Yeah, okay, we already mentioned that. That's fine.
He wants them to be radicalized. That's why he made the video.
Yeah.
He's saying, when were you radicalized? You should be radicalized too. Can't you see how corrupt everything is? Jeb targeted the blacks.
Did he? I don't know.
I don't think so.
That's a pretty strange accusation. Yeah.
Imagine Jeb being able to target anybody. Oh, geez, what's going on?
He has.
Isn't he like memed as a loser?
Well,
he is.
That's pretty funny. Most of
Jeb is a waste.
Most of the primaries are funny.
Democrats are not. The Democrats got radical left. That's what Renegade Cut says.
Jeb is the most charismatic, U.S. politician. That's why we just say, please clap.
That's why he won the presidency.
Yeah.
Message coming
all
in.
The votes.
Patching it through.
Alan Coleman. I'm a simple man. I think my radicalizing is a bad. Could be. I'm not judging you, sir.
Dude, you need to be more radical. You need to ride motorcycles and fucking skateboards and shit. Like it's 1999.
O'Neill Jones, hey, we're called Noir now, you bigot lol. Noir? What?
Oh, Noir, like Black Noir.
Are you serious?
I don't know. I can't tell.
Yeah, maybe.
I can't keep up with the hipster young lingo, you guys.
That is... Come on, guys. Noir's a genre. Don't confuse me now.
Yeah.
19 years since that day. I've spent half my life in the pre-9/11 world and half in the post-9/11 world.
Okay.
The mood of the country had changed to something that I found suffocating. Everything in the country dovetailed into a conversation about supporting our troops. country music was ruined. Celebrities were booed for criticizing the president.
Not country
No,
music.
let's agree. Country music was never good.
Of every football
Western
game
music was
had
good, though.
militarized. French fries.
Wow. Every sports game was politicized. It's like, hasn't it always been that way? It's always been rah America.
Oh, what? You don't want to bomb innocent brown people? What? You don't support the troops? Yeehaw! That used to happen a lot.
I just find it really strange that these people say it was all politicized, and literally the only thing is there was an American flag there, and you go, "Well, that's political."
You know what radicalized me is when Green Day released American Idiot, because I didn't want to be an American Idiot, and then I was like, wow, I'm a punker. I'm a rocker, you guys. I hate Bush. I'm voting Democrat next election. But I was only 14, so I couldn't vote. But I was definitely going to vote for Obama when he was invented.
Green Day killed.
Once I made that song, Green Day just went completely downhill, and it was shocking.
I think when they started calling this, I don't even think this is a real thing. I know the Americans did this, but it wasn't like this global thing in America where everyone started calling French fries freedom fries.
Oh, yeah, that was like 5. It was like a week of doing that, and it was like a terrible forced meme that they were trying to do, and then everybody forgot about it.
Yeah,
they're like, fuck that. French fries sounds better than freedom fries. I don't want to say that when I'm going to order. Because France refused to join the coalition. That was the thing, was that Bush was trying to get his "let's bomb the brown people" collective together, and he couldn't figure out how to do it with the French because they're like, I don't know about that. It sounds distasteful. They're like, come on, you got to bomb these brown people. They're really brown.
Bombing. We just wave our flags.
Bombing. We do not do that anymore.
What is bomb?
Yeah, we go bomb the dark people in Mali.
We do not know what bomb is. What you say? What is this word?
We drop croissant.
Oh, we bomb all the time.
The French had already signed a surrender treaty on September the 8th.
Yeah, right.
Pretty much.
I love how Bush and America attacked Iraq and Afghanistan after it was Saudi Arabian hijackers that took it. Like I remember 9/11 the day of. I remember what I did the morning when the news was on and everything, and seeing my dad's face and everything, and I was like, oh shit, this is serious. But the thing that I thought, and I was 10 years old, was, oh, now we have to go to war, don't we? Like, even I, a 10-year-old who didn't know shit about anything, knew that this was just some shit that was going to be retaliatory. But I was like, so who did this? And they said, oh, it was probably Iraq or Afghanistan or something else. So I was like, okay, so why don't we just send in the special secret cool guys and snipe Saddam Hussein in the head and then just walk away? And they're like, no, we have to, can't just do that because then, it'll go out of control and fall apart. And then look what happened 20 fucking years later or whatever.
It fell apart anyway. Oh, great.
It fell apart anyway with ISIS. Like into perfect place. It was almost like Iraq and Afghanistan fell into its own imprint. Like Building 7. But
I don't know about Glib. They got freedom. It's perfect. It's a utopia. There is nothing bad going on in those countries. It's fine.
There's nothing that a bunch of Arab tribe people want more than democracy, like the West.
There's
nothing a bunch of Islamic purists want.
That's why they want to immigrate to better countries.
We brought peace, freedom, and democracy to this new empire.
Hey, we just blew up every aspect of your infrastructure. You want to join us? Want to be just like us? No? Oh.
Well, I guess we'll blow up more then.
And then this gave the leftists a free pass on every kind of social issue and moral issue for the next 15 years. Because people were saying, what, you don't support the troops?
Mm-hmm.
That's how stupid this dialectic is.
Mm-hmm.
Here is Jake the Surgeon. Every word from this soy-infused voice drops my testosterone. Eat a steak, grow some chest hair, lay with a woman with normal hair, you bundle of sticks. Okay, that's pretty pretty detailed. That's a lesson in life there, sir. That's more than that.
Yeah.
Whew. I just have some bourbon.
I just want to know.
That's the call of
I just want to know why he's mentioned country music though.
Country music was ruined. Like it was bad anyway. It was never good.
Country music is actually pretty cool.
Maybe I can because country music has now kind of become like it became a patriotism thing for quite a while, and then now it's basically the the domain of frat boys. Always thinking about tits all day.
It's hip hop. It's hip hop for white people now. I got a big Corvette and a bigger goddamn chick. She got big old tits, and I like to drink in my car. I like to ride around in a pickup truck. I like these sluts because they like to fuck. Woohoo! I'm a cowboy. That's all. That's what it all is now.
Pretty much every single Florida Georgia Line song in existence.
Yeah, exactly.
Before it was all Jesus and loving each other and being sad and losing everything and crying in the rain and all these other mopey songs. Then it became, I guess, a war rhetoric. I have no idea. In 2001.
Gonna bomb Iraq. Bam, 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 down.
On a broke body like a back road, driving with my eyes closed. I know every curve like the back of my hand.
yeah, right. It's because at the end of the day, it's all just taking place in like the woods somewhere or in a field. So they have to come up with how to make that sound cool, right? Or how to make it sound interesting.
The backwoods of has nowhere.
Yeah, exactly.
The backwoods of Afghanistan.
I like to go down to the Walmart with my best girl. It's like, come on, man. Because it's depressing. The country music should be more depressing and realistic, like the old days.
I wonder what Middle Eastern country music would sound like.
I don't even want to try that. I'll get canceled.
Gotta roll down with my goat.
Ride my goat.
Black jacked up truck.
I said, Salam alaikum. What you doing later?
This were called fries, and anti-drug PSAs claimed that recreational drug users were responsible for terror attacks.
I mean, that's kind of true.
I was having some fun, you know.
That describes me.
Then all the fucking drug PSAs are stupid as shit.
Doesn't matter when.
A drug PSA that isn't batshit insane, I'll wait.
Yeah.
Because spoiler alert, there isn't.
There's no such thing as a
doing
good
drugs
PSA.
is like smacking eggs and pans and shit with a pan and all the smashing all the plates. That's exactly what drug use is like.
They should do an anti-drug PSA that's like real. That's just like people hanging out smoking weed or whatever, and the guy's like, "Hey, do you want to do something?" Like, "Nah, I'm just playing video games," and just make it as boring as possible so that it's realistic.
The best way to stop people doing drugs is just like drugs.
Make them seem really lame.
They make you do video essays where you talk about nothing for 30 minutes, and everyone will be like, "Oh God, no."
Hey, look, this is Renegade.
Have you seen the one where the guy just shoots himself after taking one little puff of weed?
Yeah,
that's really dumb.
He's like, "Oh, nothing can hurt me." Pulls out a shotgun and blows out his brains. It's so terribly done. It's amazing.
There's no such thing as a good PSA. All of them are awful.
No.
They're all bad.
Just have really dramatic music playing, and then have like a celebrity burnout, like before and after picture, and then have Markiplier say something at the end. This is why you don't do drugs, kids. You'll end up like Lindsay Lohan.
Or you have that really awful AIDS episode. You have the that too, or you have the AIDS focused episode of Captain Planet, where it's 10 minutes about lecturing you about how the bad guys are trying to weaponize AIDS.
I seriously want to see Rich Evans make a AIDS PSA.
If that's a thing,
there you go.
If that's a thing, just have
always remember to wear a condom.
Matthew McConaughey. Remember the Matthew McConaughey Lincoln commercials where he's sitting in like a coffee shop, it's all black and white, it's raining outside. He's like really philosophical. Just do that for 10 minutes.
Message coming in.
But instead of selling a car, he's just like mopey the entire time. He's just like, God, life sucks.
No. It does it. And just, at the end, everything just goes, AIDS! Straight at the camera.
I think that'd be good enough.
Yeah.
Oh, but drug PSAs, they were causing people to be radicalized against Middle Eastern countries, terrorism.
When were you radicalized? Well, when America bombed my country, and that was one.
They all resulted in these kebab joints.
Outside the like schools and like groups, has anyone actually sat through a PSA by their own choice?
Hell no. Hell
Why
no.
would anyone do that?
We do actually have.
I didn't even have to see one at school, thankfully.
Oh, God, I used to hate Fridays at college because every Friday they would make us sit down and watch some random PSA about whatever, and a lot of them were so just cringy as shit. It's like another one was talking about like the alt-right is like they find you online. And what they do is that they pretend to be your friends in gaming groups, and they'll give you gifts, and they'll be your friend, but they don't really want to be your friend. They want to turn you into a Nazi.
What's up, bro? Hey, you want this free DLC? I got it for you. Also, Hitler was a pretty cool guy, wasn't he?
Oh, we covered that.
What do you think about Oswald Mosley? He was pretty cool.
And it's this guy.
Have you tried Cyberpunk? And about those Jews.
It's like they got this actor as well to like say, oh, we can't show the original person, so here's an actor, and he's like, yeah, I used to go out and play video games, and I was with this group of people, and they just kept telling me things like it started off as edgy jokes, and then I started playing into the jokes. And then I just started having these really racist beliefs. It's really stupid. And it's like then I got a help group and I got some help. I know it's based off something which is a little bit real, as I have personally met someone who was a legitimate Nazi who was in like this horrible group of people, and he was like legitimately racist. But it is nowhere near a big threat or a problem. It's just the odd person, because these groups are fucking tiny as shit. Like, I've been in so many Discord groups. I've had so many groups that I have been in, I've been a part of, and I have only ever met one person who was radicalized by Nazis.
You mean the 5 from the 30s?
So
and apparently Discord is supposed to be this big hub for Nazis, but it isn't.
You have to join my Discord. That's where you find them.
So we do have actually a PSA on the dock. It's about a 2-minute long thing about race or some nonsense. But we did cover that one video on the Smudcast about Gabe, who was the left, it's the other side. Yeah, the other side of the aisle.
Gabe was Gabe. He's just misunderstood. Gabe is such a great guy.
Gabe Newell.
Yeah.
No, not Gabe Newell. Gabe Newell isn't Chad enough.
I don't know about that.
Chad has never even like entered his orbit.
Oh. Anyway, let's keep going. Jake the Surgeon, Middle Eastern country song title, My Wife Tried to Think. Oh, God.
Damn.
Let's just keep going, Jake, okay?
Wow.
Wow.
Thanks for the super chat.
Yeah.
Well, I thought it'd be I stoned my wife. I thought that would be the title.
Wait, what was that? Was it My Wife Tried to Think? Let me just write that down.
Yeah. People use super chats to advance their comedy career, I guess. I don't know. That's fine.
Yeah.
I don't mind.
Oh my God.
These jokes don't write themselves.
Get a fake passport. All the kids do it. I
Wow,
helped kill
okay.
a judge. I help blow up buildings. My life.
What the?
I help blow up buildings.
I help blow up buildings.
It's like we had
Why is it with PSAs? It starts off little and it goes up to like I killed people.
I was against it, of course, but my understanding of war was limited. When I was younger, I would see people get into fights at school or on the sidewalk.
Yeah,
it was always for some trivial reason. Someone looked at someone else the wrong way or said the wrong thing, and there was some misunderstanding that could easily be resolved with words.
And here we see an amazing, really tense fight in the hallway.
Be the one to back down.
Oh my God!
Wow, the intense
stuff. When I was a teenager, I mistakenly extrapolated
but I was an
that
idiot.
to my concept of war. That it was all ego and saber rattling, and that cooler heads would prevail if we would simply give peace a chance.
Everyone would be better if they just loved each other.
Individualist perspective rather than a perspective based on
just hold hands and
systems.
skip in the meadow.
I was young. I didn't grow up with the internet, and my education was limited to whatever they told me in Catholic
Okay,
school.
this guy was 18
Whoa,
in
okay.
2000, so he was there at the dawn of the public internet, as I was in the 90s. So, I mean, what do you need? What do you need? Like, you had access.
No, he's a moron.
It's called a library. It's called a library.
Yeah, that's where the internet was at school when it started. It was in the library for everyone to have access to in 96 or 97. I can't recall exactly the same date.
Yeah.
So
this is all just him trying to like do the related. Can you relate to me? I was just an ignorant kid once, but then I found the light of communism or whatever he's gonna say. It's like it's not for your benefit.
But yeah,
and later.
Jake the Surgeon, again, it's We Religion of Peace, the buildings, actually. What?
I get it.
I get it, too.
Okay,
Listen,
I'm going to be the normie here and
listen,
say I don't
all I have to say is that if you were in the same situation, you'd probably use the same tactics. That's all I have to say.
Yeah.
Cool. Generally speaking, this individualist perspective is not why wars happen. Most wars occur due to the interests of the nation.
Really?
In the United States case, usually to protect their massive
I just thought it was for a
economic
joke.
Abroad.
Whoa.
We just had wars for a bit of a laugh, really.
What the fuck was that? I need to go back to that. Hold on a second. What did he say?
The nation. In the United States case, usually to protect their massive economic interests abroad. These interests have long kept the United States involved in the Middle East. The region has vast oil reserves.
I didn't know that Israel was called an economic interest.
I thought you guys...
It's going to be the oil excuse of like America only fights over oil.
I thought you guys get most of your imports from the Athabasca tar sands in Canada.
That's not what Wesley Clark said that we were doing over there. He said we were interested in regime change to create a new Middle East, which is what we're doing.
Yeah, but I just don't like the idea. It's such a basic, like, I've spent 5 seconds on the internet to say America only fights over oil. It's like, no, there's a lot of reasons why there's wars fought.
Yeah, that's such a stupid thing to think of.
Yeah, one of them is oil because we have to have resources, but it's not the sole reason. Ego is
that's what I mean.
I would even contest that it's not even relevant to any of those
there's a lot of places that make more oil than the Middle East.
Exactly.
As much as the Middle East.
They're a major player in the world.
That there's just like an infinite amount of oil in the Middle East when you can just go to Canada's tar sands or something.
Yeah, like someone said, it's...
The thing with Canada, for whatever dumb reason, we don't have refineries in Canada, so we pump all our oil to the States, but the States have not the contracts, not the permits. They have their own recipe for refining oil, and they don't share it, which is cool because they create
patents. Is that
patents. There we go. Yeah, patents. Yeah, patents, so therefore they control what the quality of oil. So they get crude, they get sweet, they get all different kinds of petroleum product, and they sell it at a higher price, and that gets shared. So if Canada had the scientists and actual researchers to do that, we'd have a totally different marketplace. But instead, we get rich.
Then again, America likes stealing your scientists after ruining your industries.
They steal from everywhere. It's not just Canada.
In aeronautics industry, well, America fucked over your aeronautics industry to steal your aeronautic scientists.
That is true.
Steal them or pay them more?
They actively sabotaged multiple projects in Canada to take their scientists essentially because again, they had no jobs.
How does that work?
They had to go to America.
Oh, there's a documentary on the Avro Arrow. You'll love it. If you like planes, you have to really like planes though. So it's up to you. But no.
I know that they had to abduct William Shatner from Canada.
That was a good
idea. We wanted to make him a senator one time. We were like, Then we thought maybe a major general. What was that term called? The Queen's representative in Canada. The general something.
You have that?
Yeah, we have to. It's by law.
Yeah.
So, if we want to prorogue Parliament, we have to go to the Queen, and we go through this person.
But aren't you independent?
Well, they represent the Queen, so no, they're not. But we can appoint them, And we thought we were going to do that with Will Shatner as well. But we were like, nah, that's okay. No, he's good for his.
Does he even live there anymore?
No one's
Just
truly independent of Britain. You all think you
we
are.
keep you.
No
we secretly control the Illuminati that controls America.
I do remember that there was like a
Everything
girl
Trump
who
made
did,
his money. We paid him off.
There was a girl who did the research, and apparently, like all U.S. presidents were related to a British king, except for Trump.
Oh,
and the Dutch guy.
It's called
we're controlling you all.
It's called the Governor General. There we go.
Yeah.
Anyway, Jake the Surgeon. War usually happens because of religion, resources, or to retaliate. It's part of human nature, and jerking off rainbows won't do anything. My 80-year-old grandma would make this Fanny cry. Well,
I hope so.
There's lots of reasons.
Well, it's the standard response. Someone punches you in the face, you're going to punch them back. There you go.
Yeah.
I remember when Glib was saying he remembered where he was when he heard the news. I remember the news as well, and I think within a few hours they announced that they already had bombed places in the Middle East almost within the hour. So it happened very quickly. And then other things happened after that.
I was 7 when that happened, and I heard all about it. I was like, geez, that's very quick.
Yeah.
Yeah, it didn't make any sense to me. I was like, how does that work? How did they know?
I hadn't even got back home to tell my parents that, like, I'd heard this stuff before my dad had said, yeah, they've already bombed stuff. And I was like, oh, okay. So it was very quick.
Vast reserves have relationships with those that do, which means the U.S. and its allies desire control of the region. The U.S. never got most of its oil from Middle Eastern sources, but its political and economic allies did.
Why don't you name them? Who are you talking about?
Plans to have greater access to Iraq's oil reserves.
Yes.
The United States wants to sit atop a hierarchy of nations. World hegemony. And you can't do that without control over the resources that...
World hegemony. So we control the entire world? Is that what he really...
America's a globalist!
That's so beyond stupid, I can't even begin.
Doesn't he want the global world government?
I don't know. I don't know what he wants.
Probably.
Nobody knows what he wants.
Once.
Even
Between 1948 to 1991, the United States engaged in 46 military interventions. Between the much shorter time period of 1992 and 2017, that number increased fourfold to 188. During my
Do you know why that
adolescence
number
and early
increased?
adulthood, wars...
Because no one else has armies anymore, pretty much, because they all expect America to do it.
I just wanted to show this. I wanted to show this little post
can get
about
themselves in
Trump.
depth there.
The same
It's
day
much less
that
expensive than running your own.
the same day that
Yeah, but it's-
Renegade Cut made his video, this post was made. I don't know if you guys can see that. It says U.S. withdrawing thousands of troops from Iraq and Afghanistan. This is September 9th, 2020. So,
Yeah, exactly. Because basically, Trump got us out of the wars and hasn't started any new ones. And it's because the neoliberal complex that he's talking about, this military-industrial globalist complex, isn't really Trump's game. That's Bush and Obama and Clinton. That's one, you know, cabal.
Just
I still remember Clinton laughing after killing that Libyan leader, I think.
Oh, Gaddafi, yeah. Remember
that was horrifying.
Because she basically
should never do that.
They created a no-fly zone, so basically they had air superiority over the region, destroyed everything that Gaddafi would have, and so then when Gaddafi left in a convoy, they drone striked him and let all the other units take him and kill him. He's even confused when he's like under the camera, like, what the fuck happened? It's because basically they just pulled the plug on Libya and pulled in Iraq, and nobody even noticed because they didn't have an invasion. If you don't have an invasion, then you don't notice what's actually happening. You can hide it. So that's what they did in Libya. They did my thing about just snipe Saddam Hussein in the head. That was the strategy in Libya. And what happened in Libya? You got ISIS, you got a civil war. It gets to go on forever. But you know what? There's no Libya to represent itself and its interests in the Arab League anymore. So their power corner is destroyed. So basically what has been happening is that every nation that isn't Jordan or Israel has been systematically destroyed. You can think about Lebanon. Oh, that's kind of fucked. Syria, well, they're fucked. Iraq, fucked. Iran, fucked. Yemen, fucked.
Stop fucking people, America.
Qatar, all of these,
Jesus.
and it's not just America. It's the whole idea of Western hegemony, like he wants to say. People that are trying to take advantage of the situation.
It's the USA and the UK, really, because we're the only two countries that.
No, it's really Israel. Israel is the one that stands to benefit the most, and it's part of the 1982 Yinon Plan that was published in a magazine. Okay. You can read it on Global Research. All of those targets that we just talked about, Syria, Lebanon with Hezbollah, Syria with the Baathists, Iraq with the Baathists, they're the biggest obstacles to Israeli expansion in the region. This isn't tinfoil. It's what that's just the facts. The AIPAC lobby hedged enough bets, controlled enough people to get America on board, helping do all the dirty work. And that's where we are today in 2020.
No. Well, and also about this military interventions, coming back to my point of it's mainly like America do it, he's saying it's increased. Just take a look at what France does. France in the 50s and early 60s was involved in Vietnam to start with, because that's what caused all the stuff. Nowadays, they just send money to places like Iraq and Afghanistan, asking people not to attack any French people in the country. So they don't do military interventions anymore.
Well, the French are always great at retreating, so play to this.
I mean, but that's one thing that once you start actually looking at it, it's like America's always going to places. It's like because a lot of countries now just literally use America as the world police, and that's the reason why it always seems like it's America doing stuff, because a lot of countries won't even get involved anymore.
Escalating as the United States became more desperate to hold on to its control. The invasion of Iraq was not a mistake. It was long-standing United States foreign policy functioning as intended. The popular misconception that the
you can't accidentally, whoops, I've invaded someone,
has long been debunked and revealed as an intelligence fabrication. When I was 22 years old,
I'm really sorry. I meant to invade that person over there. This is all just a mess. I'm completely embarrassed.
The Majority Report with Jeanine Garofalo and Sam Cedar on Air America. I followed the primaries.
Oh, you should Rachel Maddow as well.
Our institutions, but I still believe that they could be simply reformed. We just need the right president. Bush was
radicalism.
Unpopular. Anyone could beat him. I initially backed Howard Dean, but that did not go well. Even with that setback, I thought John Kerry would wipe the floor with Bush. I remember going to bed on election night, not knowing who would be president, but assuming it would go Kerry's way. It looked
like Bush would be.
Bush's re-election was called the next day. I still recall learning about the results on my car radio on the way to a doctor's appointment. That was a miserable day. Not long after, I became a teacher. Life entered a kind of normalcy.
It's like saying it's some traumatic event. It's like when Bush was re-elected. It's like when everyone knows where they were when Trump was elected. I don't fucking know where I was when Trump was elected.
I remember there's gonna be a person with Trump as like.
I remember laughing my ass off in the car on the way home.
That was such a great line. That was a miserable day. Okay, man.
That was a miserable day. Well, I got a rock in my shoe and Bush won.
Can you imagine your entire fucking day?
Can you imagine being radicalized over Bush getting a second term? Like, oh my god, we gotta do something. Like, what? Why? What's the big deal? He's bombing Iraq for 4 more years. Like, what's your problem?
Yeah, but I'll just say one thing. Looking at that map with Bush on 269, and what is it to win the
270.
presidency?
270.
270. Yeah, so he's one away. So he had to win any of the ones that hadn't turned up. So if he went to bed thinking, "Ooh, I wonder who's going to win," it's like Bush is one away.
Couldn't states flip though? That's another thing.
We've learned that this year. Usually. Actually, they can. Yeah.
Yeah.
It depends on how much, and there's also some states have split votes, and others have winner wins all system.
Yeah, but from that map he was showing, it did look like it was pretty close to the end. Either that, or he just found the first image because he actually went to bed at like 8 o'clock at night. Because
No matter what I thought about the United States and about George W. Bush, the former was still my home, and the latter would be gone at the end of his second term. As that end approached, there was a new hope emerging. In the nation and in myself.
A star.
When I was 26 years old, Barack Obama was elected
Barack Hussein, not white man.
All the waiting was over. The waiting through my adult life, which is why his presidency was...
Let me tell you, all you need to do is talk like Martin Luther King. Make pauses. And then you will have what you want.
Well, I admit, though, he does have a good voice.
Yeah, he's got a very good speaking voice. Almost like he was trained to have it.
Very.
He was trained.
Very.
I remember there was a few days, not a few days, a few weeks ago, Obama was on a BBC interview, and he said, "Oh, obviously, that's what Trump's campaign is. Trump's campaign is to make America white again. Could you see it in the title? Make America Great Again. Again,
so many minorities voted
America was white in the past. Therefore, he's racist. What the fuck? You're pulling that out of your ass, you piece of shit."
So it wasn't great. It wasn't great at any previous time.
Well, no, he was implying that the Make America Great Again was Make America White Again.
I know, but I'm saying that the great... Okay, so if the great equals white, what he's saying is that America was never great in general, right?
Yeah.
In the actual version of the word.
What has America ever done for the world? Come on. Done nothing,
When
man.
has America
You've
ever
been
been
sat
great?
around- Yeah, you've just been doing nothing. It's like, you turn up late all the time.
Yeah, you keep turning up late to these world wars. It's like, okay, you like directly at this time, and then you come here a few years late. What the fuck are you doing, America?
Dude, that's how you win. That's how you win everything. You just wait until everybody else has died a lot and lost all their munitions and lost their mechanics and lost their resources, and then you step in and win, and then you divide up the pie. Why wouldn't you do that again? That's how we won.
You drop a nuclear bomb in a small village. Yeah.
America's the guy who comes. America's the guy who comes to a house party 2 hours late, drinks all your beer, and then sleeps with your girlfriend. You're still like, no, all right, guy.
Hey, if you didn't want me to sleep with her, you should have been sleeping with her. Hey.
The wars not only persisted, but were escalated and expanded into new territories. He was offered a Nobel Peace Prize, and I was deeply confused. Obama was still better than McCain would have been, of course.
Same shit.
I did not regret voting for Obama. I was just, still naive enough to have expected more. Skipping around here a bit, but the next 8 years, I learned about the incredible toll these conflicts had on civilians. I knew a little during the Bush administration, but the news didn't really pay much attention to Iraqi families. They always focused on our losses, the troops. I had to do my own digging. Brown University's Costs of War project calculated a total death toll from American wars in 3 countries: Iraq, Afghanistan, and Pakistan. At least 480,000 people have been directly killed by violence over the course of these conflicts, and more than 244,000 of them were civilians. This means that contrary to popular misconceptions about civilian casualties being limited in war, civilian casualties in the war on terror outnumber military casualties. In addition, the number of
in estimation, doesn't it?
Those resulting from disease, displacement,
does that
and loss
say
of critical
anything
infrastructure
about?
is believed to be several.
You could say the exact same thing about World War One, because again, a majority of World War One was spent in the French. In France. Yeah, and there were a lot of civilians who died in with civilian. Massive civilian population got cut.
Let's get those numbers up, folks. We can do better. We can firebomb entire countrysides. Come on.
Push those numbers.
Yeah, it's
those are rookie numbers. Kill more civilians. Woohoo!
Obviously, if you're fighting in someone's lands, then obviously more civilians are going to be in the way.
Also, if you're fighting against an enemy that keeps blowing up civilians, there's going to be more civilian casualties.
Yeah,
that's what I was going to say. Like, what does that say about? That doesn't have anything to say.
It depends on who's actually killing the civilians.
Yeah,
it's not. Okay. It depends on. Is it the U.S. killing them? Is it the is it the terrorists? Considering that the terrorists don't care the terror that they don't care. They just want to win. They don't care how.
Yeah,
They'll
but
kill
neither,
themselves.
nobody
Never mind killing
cares
others.
about civilians. That's the thing. You can have rules of engagement or whatever, but you have a job to do, which is to kill the enemy, to make them die for whatever it is that they're doing. The problem is that when you're talking about civilians in a conflict that's about a civil unrest and insurgency, how are you going to say who's a military target and what's the civilian target?
Yeah,
you don't have uniformed soldiers.
And in situations like that, you need to. It's either them or you. You have to say, well, obviously, I'm going to choose myself. I'm not going to let someone else kill me.
I don't have any problem with him saying like, "Oh, this war has more civilian casualties than ever." Absolutely, it does. Absolutely, and it's a stupid war, and he's right about that. And that's like I was saying earlier. It just gives leftists this moral high ground that they don't actually have. Him saying war is bad is equal to what I say war is bad, or when Trump says war is bad. Anybody can say war is bad. It makes you question why the people are actually going to war. Who are the people that actually said we should go to war? Who are the people that actually motivated and were in positions of power? Who are the ones that actually made the plans? That's what people need to ask, not, oh, American troops, do you support them or not? Or do you support the baby killers or not? Do you know how many civilians died? Like, we all know what that is.
War is a grey
who's
area.
responsible?
And that's it. War is a grey area, and to try and make it out war bad is a silly hill to die on, because some wars could be perfectly fine. I mean, everyone talks about the War of Independence. That's fine because the people were fighting for what they believed.
Even then, that's a moral
so
grey area.
So are the
it's still grey.
people in ISIS.
There's so many complicated reasons behind the Civil War, and then even like things like the Revolution.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, it's not just a war.
No,
bad.
the Revolution was
like,
objectively.
It's a great. Well,
look,
but what I'm saying is, it's
everybody
grey
has. Look, fuck saying the gray area. That's like saying I don't know.
Well,
the
it's
point
saying
is that
it's obvious that was grey, but then it's just a factual thing.
War always negatively impacts the civilian population because it consumes everything. You could say that war is bad for society. You could say it's all bad, but it doesn't matter.
Grinder.
All that matters is if you win.
Yeah,
Grinder.
If you win the war, it's great. If you lose the war, it's terrible.
There you go.
Okay. Well, even then, you can win the war and then you can be bankrupt afterwards.
That's still better than losing.
Okay.
Well,
here are two.
As long as war is about winning, then people are going to die. And as long as war exists, civilians are going to die.
As long as there's a goal in mind with a war. Usually these wars that we have in the States the past, I don't know how long it's been going on for.
20 years.
Yeah, like you don't know what the end goal is. So when Bush finally just said, we won, it's like, good, just get the hell out of there. Stop bombing this place. So there are reasons to go and leave, and he just says that enough's enough. And I always applaud that he has the intelligence to stop. Not to say he had intelligence to get in there in the first place, but we're talking about wars that were continued since his father's time, continued to Clinton's time, that continued to his time, and those continued not so much with Obama. That was a whole other story with I think he's in 7 or 8 wars. I can't remember how many Obama was in. Like the most wars I've ever seen of any other president. It was crazy. And he got
away with a lot.
Oh God, yeah. He killed so many people, and no one was like, oh yeah, talking about it.
Nobel Peace Prize person.
Yeah. Anyway, I want to say these are 3 donations. I was going to say 2. These are 3 donations from a user who's ironic what he's talking about. His username is Say No to Commies, and his first comment is, Air America, the radio station, are commies. I'm like, oh, okay, well, I guess you would know.
Good to know.
Good to know. Yeah, I have no idea what this station is, but thanks for telling us. Imagine being that guy, crying about the losses of your enemies that want to cut your heads off. Well, I mean, this is
that's another funny point.
Yeah.
But you have to ask why they want to cut your heads off. Why do they even know about you if you live thousands and thousands of miles away?
How did it come to that? I believe there was
how did we get here?
I believe there was a Republican congressman from was it Texas who had a lot to say about the concept of blowback. So that was a while ago.
Yeah, anyway, Ron Paul.
There you go.
Message coming in.
Here is his third donation. Radicalized them glib, and then he has the big D for the happy face smiley.
I will radicalize them with the truth and give them no agenda, and they'll just have to figure out what to do with their lives, like any good citizen, any good person.
Going to go home.
I have my agenda is only to reveal what I think is the truth, and I have nothing further other than that.
All right.
I guess have a good time.
Glib radicalized me. Step 2, question mark. Step 3, I don't know, 9/11 or something.
Step question mark. Step 5, profit. Somehow you make $1 billion off of it.
Dollface, here. Thanks again. Commies don't have a monopoly on being anti-war.
100%. I agree, but they love to make it that way. The left likes to have moral issues for uninformed voters. That's how they get them. So all the right has to do is take some positions that are fluffy and purely about like how people feel. So if the right wing started to go, we really care about the environment, like what Trump says, we want crystal clear water and perfect air and stuff. And then somebody goes, yeah, but do you believe in global warming? It's like that's your propaganda chip.
No, Kermit the Frog, we don't. No.
He says that he wants clean air and clean water and good regulations for people. That's how you can get those environmental leftists. They're not going to pay attention to other things. You know what I mean? And then there are certain people that you just can't, you can't argue and reason with, like the PETA people. You can't reason with an Animal Liberation Front person, but the left will use them.
Of
Do not waste your time with that.
Those resulting from disease, displacement, and loss of critical infrastructure is believed to be several times higher, running well into the millions. In fact, it's even worse than that all around because the report does not take into account other conflicts and interventions such as Libya and Syria and all the rest. Back to 2009. When I was 27, I left the United States. Recruiting agencies that work with schools in East Asia, the Middle East,
Did he go to China?
and Central America are always looking for native English speakers to teach conversational English.
Where'd he go?
This was my opportunity to leave the United States and maybe never come back. I lived in South Korea and taught in Korean middle schools for about a year. I took no pictures while I was there. This is just stock footage.
Wait a minute. He didn't take any footage.
Pictures.
Very interesting. So so RC just disappeared off the map and was supposedly in South Korea. I wonder what he was doing there.
Well, I can understand using stock footage because it's probably going to be better than any old handhold images you're just going to have.
No, but he said he took no photos.
Maybe he's just being hyperbolic.
Difference between he doesn't want to use photos.
Yeah.
He could just be hyperbolic to explain the stock footage.
He really was in North Korea studying under Juche to be an anti-American agent on YouTube.
His compass was broken. He just got the wrong.
It's like, hello, is this South Korea? No, wrong place. Welcome, comrade.
Is this South Korea? Yeah, sure.
Yes,
just
sure, totally.
It's the south part of North Korea.
While I was there, I started making online content, but it was nothing like what I do now. Then, when I was 28, I taught in Montenegro. I lived.
That's
in the
hilarious. That's a jump.
I actually did take a few photos while I was there. This was the
That's
church
right.
right outside my tiny apartment.
That's my
This was the
ancestral
market
homeland.
place where
Part
I
of
would
it.
eat almost every day. This was the town square.
Right,
We don't want your
however, is
photo
not
album.
mine. It's a tourism video I found. When I
Look
was
at this photograph.
Before Montenegro, I had never lived in what is called a developing nation. The United
Oh my
States
God.
and South Korea.
He's calling it a developing. What? Shut the fuck up! You're a fucking idiot. Go fuck yourself, kid. Calling Montenegro a developing nation, dude. I bet every Montenegrin around you was smarter than you. You fucking idiot. I bet they thought of you as the fat, chubby American or whatever. You fucking moron.
I can just imagine someone in Ethiopia hearing this and going like, "Oh, they're developing." Okay.
Yeah, the Montenegrins are developing just because they were in the poor Montenegrins living in their ancestral homeland, just making pivo and wine in their thing or whatever and fighting off NATO.
Yeah, those massive stone structures with glass.
Fuck
and,
yourself.
Those fountains. Yeah, definitely what you see in a developing nation.
Oh,
what an
Obviously,
asshole.
they have sticks.
Here's
If only he went like a kilometer away to Serbia,
Yeah,
he would have learned a lot more.
So here's the same guy from The Nations, Say No to Commies. The Air America comment was about the guy speaking in the video mentioned he was listening to that channel earlier. Oh.
Right.
Okay.
Oh, right.
Wow. I did not pick up on that. That's really astute of you, sir. Thank you. And again, he wants some time with me. Okay, Say No to Commies. Here we go. While I was there, I was approached by the dear leader's agents and joined the glorious cause of the Juche regime. Juche? I can't pronounce that. I'm sorry.
That's the like Marx. That's like Maoism for Koreans.
I'm kind of curious why he was so. I mean, we knew he was left leaning to begin with, and had his reservations, but now he's like, whoa.
Well, now he's insulting my fucking grandfather's homeland. So I'm fucking hilarious. It's funny. It's fun.
Yeah, it's Eastern Europe isn't what you class as developing. It's developed. It's just a lot of it has bland features because it's from the Soviet era where everything was just blandly designed.
Yeah, the leftism that he loves so much is the thing that fucked over the country that made it into what he thinks is a developing country.
Exactly. Yeah. Like the Eastern Bloc is still trying to go for the West, but we just can't do it in a few years.
My grandfather, well, not my grandfather, my cousins from over there, they used to come here and be amazed in the 80s or the 70s or whatever that we could just go and buy blue jeans off
Yugoslavia.
Well, yeah, they were Montenegrins from Yugoslavia during that era, the Tito era. And I've mentioned it a lot because my grandfather was a partisan when he was in his teenagers in Montenegro, and he knew Tito and everything, and he was involved in all that. And then they had to leave and then come to America, and then he joined the United States military and was involved in spy operations.
Made the right choice.
Absolutely. And I mean, he was a good guy, and all that stuff. But to hear somebody be like, "Oh yeah, man, Montenegro is a developing nation," I'm like, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
Yeah.
These big, bustling metropolises. Montenegro's capital looks and feels like a small town. Elsewhere in the nation, poverty is actually much worse, particularly in the north. Knowing the local languages was actually not one of the qualifications for these foreign teaching positions. That meant that getting those jobs was easy, but it also made my time abroad isolating. I only learned
you're isolated because nobody liked you, you fucker. That's why you're isolated, dude. They all speak English.
Serbian, Croatian, and Montenegro. I felt alone. When the school
felt alone because nobody liked you.
To the United States, the experience gave me a greater perspective of poverty.
Also, wasn't this just 2010 was quite soon after Serbia and Montenegro split up?
Within a nation of rich people and poor people,
2008.
Economic disparity.
What was that?
Yeah, in 2009.
Stock footage,
so
just some random
rich.
That's that random stock footage of some rich guy just randomly kicking over some.
Can you just rewind that? I missed that. What was it?
It was some random stock footage of a rich guy kicking over some homeless person's cup there. Say, I'll give some money. It's like, I don't give you anything. I'm gonna give it a kick.
Economic disparity.
Fuck you, buddy. What are you doing here? Get the fuck out of here.
Okay.
That's hilarious.
I like how the problem with Montenegro now is that there's way too much gangsterism, and Đukanović is known for being involved in way too much crime and that kind of thing, and the EU has fucking them over, so they have economic issues. It's the same kind of thing with Serbia. There's a lot of problems with
well, the EU likes fucking people just as much as America.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is that it's also the Balkans being dependent on countries that are involved in NATO is kind of like having to cuck to your fucking enemy, and then having your leaders cuck and sell you out at the same time. And it's just as disgusting and horrible to think about as somebody that has heritage and family there. You're like, shit. Well, they're holding on. You know what I mean? keep up the fight. Don't give in. Be like Poland.
On a global scale exists between rich nations and poor nations. Rich people need a
Always
lot of
have.
poor people to work for their industries, and rich nations
Who is he talking
need
about?
a lot of poor nations to give them
Sweatshops.
inexpensive goods. Capitalist apologists always claim that the system lifts people out of poverty, but they neglect to mention that capitalism requires poverty to function. It requires
No, it doesn't.
poverty for people to be
Fucking
working.
idiot.
Why
What
does
a
it require
fucking
people to
moron.
be starving to function?
What do
Also, you have to
Montenegrins make that like Chinese people don't make in their communist country? You fucking moron.
Yeah, but here's the thing: he's showing pictures of countries that have only recently had any form of like democracy. You know, well, Britain and America have had democracy for a couple of 100 years. A lot of these nations have had it for like 40, 30, 50 years. It's not been that long since they've got rid of their tyrannical dictators that were just taking everything.
Well,
Do
any
you know what I mean?
country that had communism and now is beholden to the World Trade Organization is still under the yoke of tyranny. It's not like they're free to make their own choices. It's not like, if they have a central bank that's part of this global endeavor, then they're fucked. Even the countries that don't, like Russia, they're still having economic issues. But I think it's really funny that the country that devalues its labor the most of all is the country that claims to be communist still, the most powerful communist country, and that's China. I find that amazing. The country that is supposedly communist is also the most hyper-capitalist, but also authoritarian, making it fascist. So the most fascist country in the
China's
world is a
fascist,
communist country.
No, China's not communist. It's fascist. There's no.
100%.
It's the exact opposite of communism. It is full-on fascism.
It's extremely nationalistic. It has state-run economy and controls everything with security
to get back to
mechanisms.
his point. So, where does it say capitalism requires poverty? Specifically, people to be starving, people to not be able to afford stuff.
I think he's implying
It's
that
not something that is a requirement to have capitalism.
He's implying that the stronger or the corporation that gets the most money spends the least amount of money to make something and then sells that at whatever price. So if you say you outsource to China, you're going to be able to produce your products and make a bigger profit as opposed to if you were to produce in America, for example. So that's what I think his mentality is. But that's not a function
the
of
system
capitalism.
still doesn't require
No, it doesn't.
poverty.
You're right, it doesn't.
You can say it uses poverty,
Right.
but it doesn't require it.
It uses labor, period,
Yeah,
so it doesn't really matter where it comes from.
hyperbolic.
The thing is, but capitalism can lift people up. Do you know why? Because if you work hard and you play your cards right, you can go from working class to middle class, even upper class. Some of the richest people started off very poor.
You also need luck. You do need luck.
You do need
a lot
luck,
of luck.
but then again,
some people
You need
can
luck
make
in
their
a-
own luck.
if you
need luck in a lot of things, though.
If you go through your education and you do fantastically well, you go to university, you get your degree, you get a job, then all of a sudden you can perfectly live the rest of your life happy as long as you can fulfill all your other needs and desires. As long as you can keep that job, get a family, be happy, fulfill your desires, what you need. And that's because you have capitalism. What the fuck do you do in communism? Communism,
Poverty-
famously, which makes everyone impoverished.
Poverty is the base that we all are born into. It's actually what we have. It's nothingness. It's just the way that things are. Now, if you do something with that, if you put labor into it, if you put your time and energy into creating something that people think has value, then you can create economy. You create economy, you have exchanges of goods, and you have property, and you have all these systems. That's how you rise any society up. The issue is that people want equity when the only equity that we have is that we live and we die. Other than that, there is none of that. Equality is something that we impose upon ourselves as a system and requires the social contract to be signed by everybody.
Well, I think equality means the same.
Equity is impossible.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but they think equality is the same when equality means equal opportunity. You can never have everyone be completely equal because there's always going to be someone who again works harder and now they have a couple pounds more than you because they did extra time. It's like, well, obviously if we're supposed to be the same, I should have that money too. But you didn't do anything.
Yeah,
he did.
But they're also,
so therefore, you're going to have people who are
Different, smaller differences, like with equity, they want everyone to be exactly the same with everything, even like down to like the physical features and stuff. It's like, well, that's just no.
And it's all about dragging people to the lower levels as well. It's never about pulling people up; it's about pushing people down. Like even if you look at the the fat acceptance movement, it's not about actually helping people get healthier. It's about saying, "Oh no, you should be fat, otherwise you're fat phobic."
Imagine a future, right, where genetics are really valuable because let's say that you can implant whatever genetics that you want into your children. You want to have a designer baby. You want to have a designer baby that's going to not have diseases, that's going to have good genetics. Now, where do you source those genetics? Well, you get them from somebody that probably already has them, right? So a beautiful person with good health and a good history. Now, who owns the rights to those genes? Who just off the top of their head? It's the person that was born with them, right? It's their birthright, right? But does the state have the ability? Does the state have the ability to come in and say, actually, that's the nation's genetics?
Or if the person sells their own genes, the government for the sake of getting a few extra bucks.
Right. Yeah. So basically, what's happening is that what I just described, instead of it being about physicality and genetics that are eugenics based, that's just people choosing their spouse. Who am I going to choose to have my spouse? I have the right to choose who I want to be with and who I want to combine my genetics with, right? Nobody else has a right to my dick, right? Right? But well, that's true. But where does the
Shiny
end
wants that shiny, but Shiny wants that.
Where is
Shut
the
the
equity?
fuck up, Dunn.
Where is the equity? Where is the equity to somebody's property, and where does it start? Does your personal property start and end with your objects, your genes, your body? Where does it end? Because these people are the ones that think the state should have the right to change people's outcomes. Because we all need, there are certain rules that have to be abided by. But what are the basis for those rules? Are we going to give people, what right do people have to ourselves and to our property? And that's really what this is all about. It's about, does the global nation, do the people have the right to your personal property and your identity or not? That's the fundamental difference between collectivism and individualism.
That sounds like a little bit from a theory from Thomas Sowell, starting saying that people are born into poverty, and that's pretty much true. And then we grow out of that through society and family and teaching and jobs and all that good stuff. But I don't want to go on about that. Glib already did, so good job.
You're good, yeah.
I'm going to keep going on the super chats, and we're going to go back to the video. Joseph Kerwin, this was a donation. Thank you, sir. Capitalism does not require poverty to function. It just requires some scarcity of cool stuff like Snapple and Nerf guns.
Well, it just requires someone to need something. It's like, hey, I need food, but I need money. Oh, to buy that thing over there. Oh, it's okay. So if I give you this money, you can give me that food, and then you can buy that car over there that you need. It's that's great. Everyone wins.
That's more of a marketplace idea. Yeah, it's the same concept. I see what you're saying. Jake the Surgeon.
Well, no, otherwise you'd just be saying, oh, well, it's just money systems, really. And then businesses and stuff.
A marketplace is you're exchanging goods, whether the good is a money or a coin. It makes no difference.
No, but like businesses are just a bigger marketplace, in fact. Because you're still paying someone for someone else, even if it's work.
Yeah, you're exchanging someone's time and resource as a piece of capital for their ability to make you more money. That's why you're paying them $10 so they can make you 11 or whatever the exchange is.
But it's still an exchange, which is the point I was making.
Yes, exactly.
Everyone needs something, and that is the point of capitalism, really.
It's still a marketplace. I mean, we're talking about specifically capitalism is about capital and how you invest and use people's resources.
Need somebody. Sorry.
Yeah, okay, let's just keep going. Jake the Surgeon. Imagine having your economy annihilated by communism and look poor during recovery compared to a nation like the U.S. or Britain. There's so many examples, like Sweden, some of the more richer nations, why they became rich and how they became rich. I love how a lot of the left-leaning people say, "Oh, look at Sweden's system of this or that. Look how prosperous they were." It's like that's not because of some political agenda or some sort of left-leaning economic system. It's like, no, it's because they were capitalist for like 60 years. And they were really
it's
good
only
at
a recent change that they went social democrat there. I come to know it.
The same with Hong Kong, the same with all these other countries. It's because they allowed entrepreneurs to go crazy and work their asses off. And it's the same mentality in Hong Kong, even though it's kind of crazy right now with politics. But they still have the crazy work ethic. Like, it would scare us in Canada if we had that. Like, even in America, it's like, okay, maybe Americans might be used to it. But it's crazy there. And there's people there from 40, 50 years ago who are millionaires just for owning property there. And I have my brother's wife's cousins who live there, and their family lives there. And they're doing very well just because they've lived there all their lives, and that's just how it is.
Yeah.
So, and they're not like affluent, they're just normal. Like, they were there 60 years ago as a family. So the value of Hong Kong, because it's a city-state and it's so small, is a little different than the rest of the surrounding areas.
Yeah.
Whew. All right. Joe Crazy. As much as some don't like them, Carnegie and Rockefeller are some of the greatest examples of rags to riches. Sure, I'll give you that. That's fine. You can go so far as to say the bankers as well and other things.
Well, there's so many examples of people who, again, started off small and grew big. Even more. Could you say Gabe Newell's a recent example with Valve?
Sure.
But then again, Valve has a monopoly on video games.
When you're talking about the last 30 years even, like Microsoft, all these big corporations produced the most millionaires since, 100 years ago or whatever. And the past 10 years, it's been even more with the advent of people becoming their own entrepreneur online, whether you're talking about selling products or drop shipping or even YouTubing. There's all kinds of millionaires from YouTube.
How am I supposed to get rich in a communist country, motherfucker? I want to be rich. I don't want to be poor. I don't care. I like that. I want nice things.
It's equal, Glib. Everyone.
I don't give a fuck about equal except before the law. I don't care about any of the equal things outside of in the court.
Equal, Glib. Everyone's equally poor and starving.
If everyone's
from the
equal,
person at the very top.
If everyone's equal, then maybe we should all be rich.
The lazy schmucks make as much money as the people who actually give a crap and work hard.
Communism is a huge. It's
a huge.
But the person at the top is benefiting more than the people below it, so it isn't truly equal anyway. So it's all kind of just defeating the point.
That's not true communism, though, because true communism has never been tried.
It's like, hey, look, this guy at the top, he's like eating steaks and having lots of food. It's like, but the people at the bottom, they're not eating any food. But I thought it was supposed to be equal society. Oh, look, it's not.
To sell that for very little to an entity.
And we can blame Germany for the uprising of communism in Russia.
Rich nations do provide some aid to.
Yeah, well, they started the Russian Revolution.
No, they didn't.
Yeah, they did. They sent what's his face back to Russia to start a revolution, even though it was a bullshit government before then. But that's what made it.
Who are you talking about? Who are you talking about?
I've already forgotten that.
Rasputin.
Whoa.
No, Rasputin wasn't a communist. He was just batshit insane. It's like
Lenin, Marx.
Yeah, Lenin. That was it. Lenin was sent back to Russia by Germany.
Lenin wasn't German.
World War I.
Why is
no, I'm not saying he was German. He was sent back to Russia by Germany after he was thrown out.
I've never heard that before.
Maybe we should ask an actual communist this question, but let's not delve too much.
This
is fan fiction.
For very little to an entity that will take most of the product of that labor. Rich nations do provide some aid to poor nations, but that's because rich nations want poor nations to have enough resources to continue making rich nations money, but not so much as to ever be competitors with the rich nation.
How does this apply to China?
How does this apply to anything? How does this apply to radicalization?
Okay, what does that have to apply to me being radicalized?
Maybe this is referring to him being.
Oh no, he's saying him being radicalized.
Oh,
what does this have to do with this?
But the question is, when were you radicalized? And
I think.
Well, he's just talking to his audience, not you.
He's explaining his story.
Oh right, yeah, okay. He just seems to have gone off.
I mean, I thought we were talking about another Gabe, but I guess we're talking about him.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Here's another donation from Say No to Commies. Glib, you are hurting the feels.
Good. Very good. Because I've had my feelings hurt my entire life with this bullshit. With the lies.
I see through the lies of the left.
I see through the lies of the Jedi.
I've officially swallowed multiple red pills.
Only a leftist deals in delusions.
Once you swallow the red pill, you can't go back. That's it.
Once you go ahead, you never go back.
Once you're exposed to the truth and you can't hide from it, how are you going to change your mind after that? You know.
Well, I love these people who say they were radicalized from the right, then they switch to the left. I don't understand these backgrounds, how they can do that.
Well, I could say the exact same thing. I could say I was radicalized by the left, and then I went more off.
Yeah, but that's probably something in relation to your example of what happened in history lessons, or what happened in. You came from a certain country.
No, actually, I wouldn't actually say that was what happened or being taught in history lessons. It was actually more about what I was consuming online. I actually think not only was I starting off with a more leftist perspective because of my family, I think it was also mostly because I just found a couple of people called the Young Turks, and I'm thinking, oh well, these guys seem very trustworthy. I guess I'll listen to them.
Shiny, are you basing your mindset on YouTubers? Is that how that works?
Yeah, I was radicalized by fucking the Young Turks.
Wow,
great.
I was.
That's a story, Shiny.
I was young. I was 16 years old.
I was radicalized by
Caspian when you were at 16. Dang, that's impressive.
What?
You said you were secret with the Young Turks. I just asked, you got Anna Casper when you were 16? What's your secret?
I don't get the joke.
He was a plastic surgeon. That was a secret.
I really didn't know that Shiny is Turkish. Wow.
Glib.
These jokes are so funny.
Yeah, what's up?
Someone's just said in
Glib laughed at them.
In the Smudboy political chat that the Supreme Court has rejected the Texas case.
Really?
Yeah.
That's fascinating. Who was the one that? What was the dismissal?
Nothing. It's just that I've just seen just saw a headline, but there's been nothing else.
I gotta see this.
I'm not saying it's true, but I've not jumped into it. Just seemed apt since you brought it up earlier in the stream.
Okay, I have to look into this, but that's fascinating.
If they have, then there's a big serious problem because there's 17 states that have agreed to it with the Texas lawsuit. So, oh well.
Interesting.
Anyway,
right. Texas has not demonstrated a judicially cognizable interest in the manner in which another state conducts its elections. The court said in a 2-paragraph order. Okay. No justice publicly dissented in the conclusion.
After.
Fuck the video. Justice Clarence Thomas and Samuel Alito said that they would have let Texas file the suit, noting that they have long maintained that they think the Supreme Court has no chance but to allow a suit by one state against another. They said they were expressing no view on any other issue. Okay. I wonder what his next step is. I wonder what the next thing is.
And I don't personally care.
Let's go.
Well, fuck you.
Capitalism is not broken. It is functioning as intended. The World Bank, in concert with rich nations, uses debt to control poor nations, and then uses statistical manipulation wherein they move the standard of what is considered poverty over time to make it appear that their efforts are solving global poverty. Statistical sleight of hand to paint a rosy picture of the future. For example, the World Bank has instituted a $1.90 per day international poverty line, even though national poverty lines are much different. By these standards, if you are homeless, without health care, and without a support network, but you earn $1.91 a day, you are not living in true poverty. They use these misleading statistics to show their own worth and move those goalposts whenever convenient. I fell for this lie for a long time. Since
Society's a lie. We live in a society.
Between what is called the global north, meaning wealthier countries, and the global south, meaning developing nations and what we once called the third world, has tripled in size. 4.3 billion people, which is about 60% of the world's population, live on less than $5 per day. About 1 billion people live on less than $1 a day. When you bring this up to people, they're like, I'll have you know that global poverty and centuries of subjugating half the world is why you can drink a Coca-Cola right now, and it's like, off. The price of a rich nation
What?
is a poor nation. That is how global capitalism works. That is what the world really is. When I was 31, I learned that despite Obama taking over for Bush, our intelligence agencies were still spying on us. But that's what they have always done, and what they have always existed for. They just have better technology now. The state exists to monopolize control and violence. It is functioning as intended.
And you want more? Is that what you like? What is this? What a strange outlook.
I always notice those people fleeing capitalist countries from poverty.
Does he
That's one thing I've
honestly
always
think?
noticed.
If let's say America turns communist tomorrow, does he honestly think all these surveillances and all these other police states are going to go away or something?
Yeah, because communism police state, it just doesn't happen. When have you ever heard of a communist police state?
Yeah.
Come on.
But I'm not
All
sure.
of
Like,
them. All of them. They're all police states.
Oh, that's right. They don't use tear gas. They use actual bullets. That's right. I'm sorry.
his argument is that capitalism is designed to do this. It's designed to spy on its people. It's designed to do all these things.
So-
It's designed to make the poor poorer and the rich richer.
So he equated the central bank.
Communism as it
You're
exists.
saying it is that way, but could you prove it? Because I don't think it was intended this way.
Yeah, he
at
equated an intelligence agency, the police, surveillance, the central bank of I don't know, Europe, with capitalism. I'm like, those have nothing to do with capitalism. You don't need a central bank for capitalism. Who do you think made a central bank? The bankers. They were tired of tired of bailing out their friends. Hey, government, can you do it for me? Here's some money. You tax the people, and they can take care of that. So I don't have to take care of all my other friends. I'm tired of this. There's so much history into the formation of a central bank in Canada, let alone the States. Was the monster from Jekyll Island? I think it was. What was it again? Can't remember that story. How it came about. Fractional reserve banking. All these other horrible things, which have nothing to do with capitalism. It's just this. And then the CIA, and it's like, oh my God, capitalism created the CIA. No, what? He's jumping around.
What was it? The CIA created American art so that we'd have an objective.
I knew you were into fucking uncompetitive.
Yeah.
I know
that-
the CIA ruined American art. The CIA owns Hollywood.
I know when Adam Smith wrote that thing about capitalism, I think he specifically called for like spying on people.
Yeah.
Oy.
But yeah, everything you're saying right now, you could literally replace capitalism with communism and it'd still work out exactly the same. You just say the exact. So I don't. Well,
anyway, Joseph Kerwin, thanks for the donation again. I was radicalized to the right by Mr. Dapperton. Okay. I started small, privatizing roads and courtrooms. Pretty soon I was up to 6 McNukes a day. It's been great, and I've never looked back. Okay.
McNukes.
I'm pretty sure, like, Renegade Cut thinks that capitalism is like the Ferengi. It's like the Ferengi's like, oh, we're exploiting people. We don't want to stop the exploitation. We want to become the exploiters. It's like, yeah, okay, that's the way he sees it.
Do you think Renegade Cut's just dyslexic, and every time he sees communist, he spells it capitalist? And he just hasn't got round to realising it yet.
I think he's just batshit insane.
I would love for there to be a vote where the state or the city you're in changes to communism for like 3 months. And just see how you do. See who's in power. See what.
Why? Everyone's seen Portland. Why would you?
just to have people live it.
Just keep replaying that.
It's kind of like
and
what you do.
This is what you could win.
I know. But this is...
every time it becomes communist, it's like, oh, that's not real communism.
Well, okay.
It failed because of other reasons.
There are stories.
I swear.
I've dated girls who have told me these stories, but they were wild when they were younger and they wisened up really quickly. And what they ended up happening to them was their parents sent them to camp for 2 weeks. And this is not like normal camp, like they give you 3 meals a day. It's like they leave you in the wilderness in Canada for 2 weeks. You got to survive by yourself. You wisen up really fast.
Well, watch out for those mooses.
You snakes, all kinds of wonderful things in Canada here, but you get smart really quick. You go, oh yeah, this is important. This is what matters to me. Creature comforts are really, really important when you're in the was it 0 degrees centigrade and trying to keep warm and eat.
That sounds really fun, man. I would do that.
I find a lot of the people who like talk about like communism when they're at university soon change to being full-on capitalists once they get a job, and they start actually making money, and then they're like, well, I don't want to give this up. So yeah, people change once they get a bit of a shock of reality into them. People do start changing
if you actually
their views.
If you go to his comments section, he actually has a talk about, well, how can you be communist if you're here to make money? And he has all these comics or cartoons from political people who were like, there's a guy with like a sack on his back and he's a serf. He's like, oh, I wish I could change the system. And there's like a guy in a well going, well, why don't you get out of why don't you get out of the country if you hate it so much? Whatever. It's like, guys, you're missing the point. Okay, either you live what you believe, or you do something about it. You change the system. Don't just sit there if you think there's a problem. It's ridiculous. If I think there's something wrong with my municipal government, I'm going to run for office or going to run to work in the office and help influence people to make things better. If I think that's the problem, whatever the case might be.
Yeah, but these have got to be real problems, not just something because you've sat at home and thought, oh, I think this might be a problem.
This
then
is
you go crazy. It's
like this is economic. We're talking about communism. You're talking about an entire economic and political change. You can't just turn it on a dime. It's so diverse and so crazy that they want this radical idea, which has been done before, and we know the results. And it's just
the best thing about it is like
terrible.
If you ask them how would you implement it, they look at you with like glazed over eyes. It's like, oh, I didn't think that far. It's like, well, then I don't want you running anything.
And even if they do, it's going to be so radical to every system in place, like changing the cops, changing education, changing healthcare, changing like all these things. Like how are you going to do this? You don't have the manpower, you don't have the money, you don't have the influence. What are you going to do? Sell them on dreams? Like what are you going to do? How are you going to motivate these people to follow you? Just because
you can't sell all your stuff on eBay. No, to fund your communist revolution.
It won't happen. Even if we gave them all the power, money, and resources, they won't be able to figure it out. No one would.
Yeah, they'd just be stuck on it.
They just have another weird sort of like Amazon wannabe, and they collapse within a week or so, as they gave away all this crap. They have no more resources left, and they're screwed.
Yeah.
Anyway.
It was called Chaz. That is what happens. Chaz is what happens. Where they nearly starved to death within 1 day.
Remember Chaz.
Because someone's dad cancelled a credit card and that was their only influx of money.
Ended. I always considered myself an environmentalist, but in my early 30s I began to learn more about climate change. The energy corporations, well, they always knew. They always knew what they were doing to the world, but capitalism does not incentivize saving the world.
God, you're so fucking dramatic,
for
aren't
example,
you?
projected climate change
So
pretty
boring.
accurately since at
His
least
voice is really
1982,
boring.
The year
They knew that they always knew that they were behind it.
The funny thing is that Renegade Cut used to sound very normal. Just after Trump was elected, he changed his voice to this. But has
I
like.
wonder why, Mark. I wonder why.
Probably because he chopped his balls off.
He sounded normal.
It implies that he had any balls to begin with, Shiney.
Hey, listen, I knew about global warming. I've watched Steven Seagal punch Michael Caine in a movie, so
Okay.
that was about global warming or something. I think.
I mean, if we're talking about the energy industry, there's been so many changes, even this year, of the shift to green power. Even with the major, there's a company called Enbridge here in Canada, which actually connects to states a lot. They've invested in green energy as well. So this is a slowly changing landscape of investment and experimentation in science and technology. So yes, even the prices for solar energy are going down, but they still require petroleum. They still require silicon. They still require all these other like precious metals, which you need industry to operate.
Yeah, it's like what is it they want to do with the electric cars? There's only enough lithium on planet Earth for 50 years worth.
Not to mention how fucking stupid lithium batteries are in the first place to power a car. Fun fact: lithium batteries really a horribly not inefficient way of storing power. It is not good. It is actually uses more power.
Recycling them.
Also,
the weight itself of
the mines are run by children.
So like the weight of so many lithium-ion batteries costs more power than you're actually saving, or like saving the world in like your electric car.
There was my friend showed me a video of a lithium-powered digger being charged up by a diesel-powered generator.
Yeah,
that literally sounded like hell was arriving. It was just so horrible. You could see like smoke coming out of his generator, and everyone's going like, "Look, that's saving the environment." And I was like, "Oh my god!"
You may as well just put an engine in there at that point.
Yeah, bear in mind.
Not to mention how explosive lithium-ion batteries can be when they're like damaged, and that you can't put those fires out either.
No. But here's the thing: this digger took 8 hours to charge, and you could do about 2 hours worth of work with it.
Oh, that's very inefficient.
Yeah, but everyone's going like, "Oh, it's the future." I'm like, "What? 2 hour days at work?"
Yeah, that's why I say, fuck, I remember his name now. Guy who's in charge of SpaceX and all that shit.
Elon Musk.
Elon Musk is such a snake oil salesman. He is.
We're all rooting for him, but
he has an idea, and he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna give everyone free chocolate, and I'm gonna have satellites that give everyone extremely cheap internet connection everywhere. And I'm gonna put tunnels between two cities, which send you there. in half an hour.
Has cars. He has Tesla cars. People drive them, so it exists.
Well, okay, that's the one.
Yeah, but then things like the Hyperloop were never ever going to be real because they were, while they were theoretically possible, it was never going to be a reality. So he was selling something which would never be real. It was just a way of hyping up to inflate his ego. Even electric cars, and
I don't agree, Shiny. I don't agree.
Unless we find a much more efficient way of storing energy, lithium-ion batteries are not going to be good for electric cars.
Yeah,
it doesn't fucking matter, Shiny. The cars exist. He gets money to fund the Hyperloop tests. He's got his rocket program, and you're just a guy in a fucking suit. So who gives a shit?
All right, yeah. There's lots of reasons to and not to invest in Tesla, but the only one that has made money is his SpaceX program, and that's because the government buys the use of his rockets to launch them up into space.
Yeah.
Tesla was never projected to make money until 2022, and that was like 4 years ago. The fact that his stock rose like crazy this year is multiple reasons, but there's still no projection for when you're going to get your money back unless you sold your stock this year, and that was after the split, not before. So it's like, okay, yeah, people have a dream. They all believe in this company, but that's just Tesla. All the other companies, I have no idea. I don't know what they're doing. The brain one, that's like crazy. It's awesome. I'm glad someone's doing research, but there's no economic reason for it for me to care. Like if I'm not in the programs, I'm not studying the brain, I don't care. Financially, I don't care. But I'm glad he's doing it.
Yeah.
I'm really glad he's doing.
Yeah.
I'm glad he's launching rockets. I'm glad he's digging holes. The Hyperloop.
I'm glad somebody's doing it.
I'm glad that the government's giving him money because they're so dumb. They just give this entrepreneur like go crazy. Like great. I'm glad someone has the balls to push the limits. And if you want to ride in a bullet that's pressurized underground, I'm like okay, go for it, man.
Yeah.
But that's just a huge scam, though, because again,
No,
it was
it's not a
never going to
scam.
be able to happen. It's something that would never be a reality.
4 days ago, the Chinese started up their first nuclear fusion test, the tokamak whatever reactor. Everything about fusion has been a pipe dream, even in America. There's 2 types of reactors in America. There's a few in Europe. We're getting there.
I don't know, Smud.
Yeah,
I watched that documentary called Fallout.
There's a difference between fusion. And there's a difference between, the impracticalities of creating a pressurized tube that sends one object to the other side of the country in half an hour. And there are so many complications with that it's just never going to become a reality.
I agree.
But then there's a difference between that
scary as hell.
Other products to develop. That's the point.
But you know what? He's going to keep doing it because that's his mindset. He's going to keep pushing the boundaries. And his rocket blew up with was it yesterday or 2 days ago?
Yes.
Like he's still losing rockets, but he keeps doing it. And that's what's beautiful about having the freedom to push these boundaries. This is kind of like
only in a capitalist society could we do this.
Exactly.
Communism, they go,
an individual that people believe in. And this is why we see him as like the next Tony Stark, or what is it, that guy? Not John Galt, but the dude in, what was his name in the Ayn Rand novel where he was he made his own steel. Whatever, it doesn't matter.
No, that's I can't remember what his name. I can't remember what his
like
name
you have
is.
these entrepreneurs who are pushing the envelope to see if they can produce something. The problem with Musk is the profitability, and he's doing too many things. It's kind of nuts. But hey, if it takes one guy to do it, and has billions and billions of bucks, burn it, baby, go for it. We need to see flying cars soon. We need to see going to the moon soon. We need to see all these things. As crazy as
we're 5 years late with our flying cars.
Yeah, I know.
We're 5 years late.
I know. And if we switch to if any major country switches to complete communism, you will see capital leave that country overnight.
So quick. Oh god.
Yeah.
All the companies are going to go to like
they would just go. It's like sod this. Yeah.
So the thing we're talking about is communism, really, because that's what Renegade Cut's probably going to get to. So communism is great. It's like, nope. We've never seen it do any service to humanity that capitalism has not only done better, but in magnitudes better.
Yeah.
Year I was born.
Are you familiar with this graph from 1982? Can you
whoever
Sure.
brings up AOC is a good point.
A projection into the future of carbon dioxide levels and climate change associated with those carbon dioxide levels. And it's a very accurate representation of what today's climate change actually
What is this tie? What is?
So this was a model from 1982 with startlingly accurate projections into the present
That's
day.
correct.
The orange line shows...
Interesting how in 1982 they have amazingly accurate projections, and nowadays we have extremely horrible, inaccurate projections.
It's all over the fucking place. Some people take the world's going to end tomorrow, and people think in 100 years' time.
Just remember, New York is meant to be underwater by 2015. So, heard all this before.
They had one model that was accurate.
In the atmosphere through...
Well, they have about 20 they show to us, but they have like hundreds they just throw out. And the 20, the 20 they show
daily.
None of them are accurate except for maybe one, and it's always like below the actual line or above the actual. It's never on the line.
I'm sure I heard somewhere that they don't take any. I'm sure I heard a Democrat also want to say about global warming. It's like we don't believe any data before 1989 because it's too old.
Blah. What?
Yeah, that was like done this year. Yeah, saying it's too old and it's too out of date. So I find it very strange that they were perfectly fine with an 82 one just a couple of years ago from obviously the footage show.
Wait a second. We have Arctic ice cores that show temperature from hundreds and hundreds of years ago, if not thousands. So what's the problem?
Well, in Britain, whenever it comes to like weather, they'd never show anything before 1973, I think it is.
Really?
So they just pay no attention. So whenever you hear someone like it was the warmest summer in British since records began, it's like from 73, but we had hotter ones or colder ones.
There is so much bizarre information about the planet and temperatures and average temperatures and global average. It's just like, guys, you're not experts, okay? The experts get it wrong. It's so confusing. Don't use predictive models.
When someone says experts, just remember that there's quotation marks around these experts because they can be wrong.
This year, Exxon accurately predicted that by this year, 2019, the Earth would hit a carbon dioxide concentration of 415 parts per million.
So what?
And a temperature increase of 1 degree Celsius. Dr. Hoffert, is that correct?
We were excellent scientists.
Yes, you were. Yes, you were.
Yes, you were.
So they just kept doing
Why does that
what they were
sound
doing,
patronizing?
gave the data,
That just sounds
and
so
enacted a
patronizing.
campaign.
Well, because
she's just that sort of. She's just that sort of person.
First off, it's ExxonMobil, right? So it's like, oh yeah, you're with big oil. Oh, you're so oh, wait a second, they're bad. I shouldn't be saying this.
Yeah. Come on, she's a bartender. She's no offense to bartenders out there, wonderful people.
I'm
but,
sure she's a wonderful bartender.
Yeah, she just comes out. She says stuff, and it's like you don't even know half the words you've just said. Someone else has wrote this down for you, and you just said these words.
I fully believe she wrote the Green New Deal because that's insane.
Didn't she make a video where she claimed that in her ideal view of the future, they would plant trees by listening to Native Americans on how to better create crops?
Native Americans didn't
a little bit out
do a lot
there.
Didn't do a lot of crop planting. No, they were nomads. Or was that later
They're not going to
on?
know anything which science doesn't already know about planting trees.
Well, the fact
they were nomadic, but they were like I think they would kind of like plant and then come back in kind of another season while being hunter gatherers.
But it's still important to mention that I don't think that they're going to have any kind of secrets which aren't already known by science, unless they think dancing on it is going to somehow make it grow.
I just remember.
No, they just share it with the Democratic Party because Trump is finally not in power anymore.
Oh, okay.
What?
But AOC had a bunch of really weird and out there things in that animation.
She's a fucking retard, dude. She's just a young face.
Around.
She's just a young face that's there, bought by the Soros people, so that she can get all of the young people to be radicalized. She's just there to snap at people in Congress and make a couple bucks on the side. She doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
Hey, she
just forwards this youthful image, just like Greta.
She played Among Us with our Jagmeet Singh of the NDP leader party. Okay, that's like special. Okay, that's two countries coming together to.
Oh, it's special, all right, Smudge. Yeah,
it's special. They're special people. Yeah. I still haven't watched that stream. I don't know if I want to, but anyway.
Oh no, I'd rather just stab myself in the eyes with a rusty spoon.
Misinformation. All of this was a lot to take. I can understand not wanting to face any of this.
Oh, this is the actual position.
If he doesn't...
This is the view of Obama's kill drones. This is like, oh, we're going to zoom out here and blow up this entire village.
Yeah.
If he doesn't end this video by putting on some Joker makeup, I'm going to be very upset.
Oh yeah, so would I be.
If he says something like, but hopefully now with Biden in the runnings, things could possibly. I swear to God, if that
it's going to end on like a hopeful future.
Yeah.
If I did this video come out
September this year.
Okay.
Oh wow.
Oh yeah.
This is a very interesting donation from Joseph Kerwin. Thanks, Joseph. Elon Musk's Starlink is our best bet to reverse the trend of urbanization. I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing. I do know when Shiny
done right.
Yeah, when Shiny was talking about
well, it kind of depends.
Yeah, I mean,
kind of depends.
That's why I said when done right.
Yeah, because we were talking about that this week in the news in Canada, and apparently Elon Musk was like offering, hey, we can get you internet anywhere in the world, like Canada, but the cost was like almost twice as much as a satellite modem or something like that. We're like, yeah, we don't care. Thanks, Elon, but no
well,
thanks.
it was like when Jeremy Corbyn last year in Britain said we'll give free give internet to the whole country, and we responded like 95% of us have internet, we don't care. It's like great.
There's a lot of people who promise a lot of things and they're never going to give them to them. So,
yes.
Like, because there's a lot of people who run on promises they can't give. It's like the people who say, "Oh, we're going to make university free." Okay, how are you going to do that?
Shiny, they're called politicians. They're called politicians.
We're going to make your water free. How? Can you tell us how? Education. Oh, fuck's sake! You're not getting anywhere with you, are we?
No. They do it all for free, and then you look at your like wage slip and see your taxes going out, and you realise, oh wait, this isn't actually for free.
Oh, you see your government going incredibly in debt. Looks over at America.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure you understand debt and deficit, Shiny.
Yeah.
Not one accept how bad things are for most of the world, and how bad things are going to be for the rest of the world.
Okay,
too.
if this guy thinks he's gonna,
the future's gonna be so terrible.
I realize there's a lot of bad going in the world, but I can't solve all the problems. I can only solve my own problems.
In fact, you probably can't even solve those. All you can do is deal
everyone
with what you have.
solved their own problems, the world would be a better place.
Yep. I agree. Like,
no, if
because
everyone
your
was
sphere of
that would happen.
your sphere of influence is tiny.
Yes.
Like, you cannot affect very much. No matter who unless you are in a government office, and even then your abilities are limited.
Yes. Exactly. I worked for the government for 5 years. Didn't change fuck all.
Yeah.
Changed absolutely nothing.
Well, there's work for and then being part of in terms of like an
Yes,
elected official.
Yeah, but it's like even in what I could do to help people in my job, very little I could do for people. If you know what I mean.
What was your job?
It was just helping people with adult care. So helping out with people with social services, care homes, even down to parking, disabled parking and stuff. So, but even in those sort of things, I couldn't even help people who needed help, even with the access that I had. Do you know what I mean? Even though it was my job to help, there's very little you could do. You'd be surprised how little power people have to help out in a wide range of stuff, you know.
But then his argument's going to be, it's like, well, if we all come together, we can have a bigger sphere of influence. But then how are you fucking going to get everyone to agree?
There are people who just do not care at all, though, as well. It's like there are nasty people out there who really just could not care.
I'm one of them.
Yeah.
Carrie, okay. There are things that I just can't bring myself to care, because it's just like, what do you expect me to do? There's nothing here.
Yeah.
Can do.
But again,
to
the
fix
argument
this
would just
particular
be,
problem.
well, if it's the problem is because everyone's thinking that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's realistic. How exactly is Joe Schmo, who doesn't have political power, able to affect something that's happening in frickin' Africa?
But then again, I keep saying that argument is going to be, well, if everyone work together, they're going to change something.
Okay, what about the people who don't want to work with other people? And I know the response would be, yeah, but if is a big word, and see, this is the thing. It's like they're just the wide-eyed, optimism is
crazies.
It's like, okay, that's fine. But these people who say all these things are the first to go, oh, I'm busy whenever you need help.
Hey, so Yeah, about those starving kids in Africa. We need some people to go and feed them. It's like, well, actually, I'm busy this Sunday.
Teach them JavaScript.
I've just received $1 so I can do stuff with my hair. I'm busy, so I can't help out.
Here's Say No to Commies. They pretend to pay us, and we pretend to work. Well,
Yeah.
That's communism.
Everyone gets a plastic spoon to dig the trench, but everyone has a job. We're great.
Yeah. Working for the government, there's a lot of supervisors.
Maybe I avoided learning the worst things about the world in my youth because my brain knew that my heart couldn't take it. Compartmentalization as self-care. And
God, you are such an overdramatic ass.
It's not your heart, it's your brain that couldn't take it.
I couldn't take the horrible things in the world, so I compartmentalize.
Also so boring. Like, just so boring and lame.
Do you know what I find funny when you went, I learned about this in my youth? Yeah, you tend to learn about a lot of things in your youth. Because that's when things happen.
You learn things.
Yeah. I'm 26. I've learnt things and stuff. I didn't just I don't have
in my youth. I learned
from the age of 20 to 30, and then I go like, oh well, I've learnt things now. I'm older. It's
bravo.
I have war. It's basically that's what is essentially just quoting Thor, which is kind of just like, you don't have the right to do that.
My brain was hiding things so my heart would be okay.
Who says that though? Come on.
But that's what he's pretty much goes. My brain is like realizing of this and kept it away from my heart.
But it's supposed to be kind of sucking the dick of the rest of the progressives. It's like, I used to be the same way. I used to ignore all the terrible things, but now I'm paying attention to them.
When in reality, you finish this video, you open your packet of cheesy What's-It and sit on your TV, sit on your sofa. You know what I mean? Like the rest of us.
To change it. All of this is happening.
Apart from I open a good old packet of Jaffa cakes.
As it was intended.
Yes.
The world set itself up from the top down and gave so much to the top of the hierarchy that the top can suffer no consequences for when.
The world just started and they gave everyone everything at the top. Of course, that's how everything works.
Yeah.
It's not how fucking anything works. You're
really my god,
simplifying everything.
Do we have to explain to him the world didn't burst into existence in 1980 with everything all set up and ready?
Into existence, and we had the haves and the haves not.
This is like one of those
beforehand. We were in queues. We were in queues, and someone went have not, and then they looked at something and they looked at you and haves, go on. Treat yourself, don't worry about it.
This is beginning to sound like one of those PBS donation hour-long campaigns where it's like, please give money to starving children in Africa.
I'm really expecting him to go, at some point to go, and little Nikita walks 7 miles a day to get water. And that's because we've set up a hierarchical system that stops her. Please donate £5.
Yeah, but instead of going to Nikita, it goes to him.
For little Pepito.
Yeah.
Oh, little Pepito.
Here's Joe Crazy. Oh, my beautiful little heart can't take how everyone but me is horrible. Yeah, I know.
Oh, the world's such an awful place.
Grow up, Buttercup. Suck it up.
The world is a horrible place because it's just nature, but humans have been able to make it a bit nicer. Do you know what I mean?
Well, society is made to make things a little bit easier.
Yeah, but humans made society. Do you know what I mean? It's just like
a little more peaceful, I suppose.
Yeah, we've strived to make things a little bit more easier on ourselves, so that we can make 20-minute long YouTube videos about whatever he was on about.
Message coming in.
Do you know what I mean?
Oh boy!
And he doesn't have to worry about going out and hunting a mammoth just so he's got enough food to last him.
I think it's very easy to fall into the idea that the world is a horrible place. Everything is horrible all the time because it is kind of like your brain tends to latch onto not only the negative, we're constantly told the negative all the time. If someone is stabbed in Manchester, it's breaking news. Several people have been stabbed in Manchester. It's like you don't hear about all the times people aren't stabbed in Manchester. All the times where
nobody dies when you're not stabbed.
You don't hear about the times where someone has been great, or someone has been nice or kind, or someone's helped an old lady cross the street, or how many times people have given to charity or food banks, or how many lives have been saved through health services, or how many times this, that, and the other happens. You only hear about the bad because that is the nature of the news. Because the bad is not the norm. It's not the norm that
the bad is what sells.
The news.
The bad news sells. And that's it.
So it makes the world seem much more terrible and horrific than it actually is. Even to an extent, we have something similar. We probably make YouTube seem like a much more terrible batshit place because we cover all these really stupid videos when we just cover the creme de la crazy of YouTube.
Yeah.
Like even the creme de la crazy of the left.
I'm going to write that down and use that from now on. That's
the creme de la crazy.
Yeah. I like that.
Look, I've had conversations with more left-leaning people who I don't agree with, and they've managed to make much better arguments than people. You obviously were ranting on YouTube because, again, we cover just the batshit crazy. Because the people who are actually making any kind of sense, we don't need to cover their videos because they're talking sense and we agree with them.
So here's Jake the Surgeon again. Thank you, sir. Top down is what this soft-voiced, ballless troglodyte wants. That's what communism is. Those were 3 L's, sir. I was a little confused there. I don't know what balls. Less.
Balls.
Ballless.
How much longer is this video going on?
We got a minute.
Long. Oh, it's all right.
Well, again, the last 2 minutes of any of his videos.
Hopefully,
are always the
hopefully his heart can take it. Hopefully, his heart can take it.
Oh no.
Oh, the world is so terrible.
Systems, when confronted with this, a lot of people are like, well, capitalism and the military and energy corporations
full of malevolence and evil.
Whoa, what is he talking about?
Thank you.
We're all just ignorant. We just choose to live in a society.
Let's have the full context.
What's
within these systems. When confronted with this, a lot of people are like, well, capitalism and the military and energy corporations and all those things can simply be reformed. How do you reform something that's fiercely resistant to reform by design?
Because they're buttercups and need to grow up and rethink their lives.
Why do you need to reform the energy corporations? What's wrong with them?
Look, what is it that you want, Renegade Cut?
Yeah.
Get to your point.
It's all right saying I want reform. Okay, how would you reform it? And like I say, if you just stand there and go, "Oh, I don't know," it's like, well, then you don't want reform. You just want something completely different. You have to explain what you want to reform about something. Make a list. Actually, get your plan.
I'm sure it's have a point. No, but I think anything could be reformed, and I think anything can always use some improvement. Anything you could possibly reform, but it is the point of you can reform it. How? Have a plan. Have a point. Tell us, please. If it's more than just saying, "Oh, let's reform the government and the voting system," how are we going to reform it? What system are we going to use?
I know he wants a revolution, but he won't say what system he wants. He just wants to point out a problem and then let your mind go, "Oh, communism is the solution," or whatever.
No, but the thing is, and that would divide people based on what they want after the revolution. So it's like, oh well, we'll get the revolution done first, so we've talked about it as vaguely as possible.
Yeah, it's like, imagine all the chaos. Say if they did topple all the capitalist governments and everything afterwards, it'd be utter chaos because no one would be able to just agree on what to do. Even the communists can't agree on what communism to do.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? They can't. There's so many different versions of it. You'd spend more time arguing over that, and nothing would be done. And then someone would just come in and say, Why don't we have like a capitalist system? And of course, the communists are still arguing. Everyone else be off making another capitalist system, and we'd be back to square one again. A waste of time.
That's why I say that the left is going to eat itself.
Yeah.
Very, very quickly.
Well, when it becomes about purity, it's the pure is going to eat the pure because they can never be pure enough. Because it's slowly whittling down until it gets to the point where it's little itty bitty things where it's like, you agree on, you agree on everything. This is like shedding the edges slowly. It's like you agree on everything other than abortion, but because you don't agree on abortion, we're going to slide you out the party. We've got rid of all those people.
You could get down to the last 2 people on Earth, right? And those 2 people will not agree with each other 100%. There'll be something different between them. And that's the problem.
We gotta go through this minute left. I know he's gonna say a lot of crazy things, so it's gonna take us.
He's gonna try and leave on a hopeful note.
Yeah, I swear if he leaves on a hopeful note with Joe Biden, I'm just gonna mute and scream in my house.
Here's another.
Well, it's gonna be a bit crazy to do at 1 o'clock in the morning.
Here's another donation from
It's not the craziest. No, my neighbours are usually at a house party at this time, so.
We'll have a house party. We don't need nobody. Turn your TV.
All right. Say no to commies donates again. He says, much of the mainstream media are terrorist. Think about it. Well, okay.
Jesus.
In what sense?
Yeah.
I would say maybe define what you mean. I'm more than happy to believe that they're wrong or bad in some kind of capacity, but
let's just
terrorists.
Yeah, let's just.
I mean, maybe that's by.
Let's just.
Okay, maybe by definition.
Shiny,
of spreading
calm down. Shiny,
terror.
calm down.
No.
All right, stop it. Let's just leave that alone. All right.
Yes. It was like, oh god.
Let's
Can't
just leave
look
that
at
alone.
the world ravaged by wars of choice, most of the world suffering, and all of the world in imminent danger. And
Wars of choice as opposed to the wars of convenience. Like, what are you telling me?
The world is changing.
I love that they want choice, but then supposedly war of choice is bad. It's like it's still choice. Whatever. They
Don't defend yourself. Don't attack anyone. Choose to attack someone. Like what?
Yeah.
Smoothing over the rough edges. Incremental reform is no longer an option.
A guy swinging a flare is what exactly? What is this representing?
It's rising up because incremental reform is no longer an option, Smud.
It is an option.
Wearing a
It's like one of the
burqa?
best
Like, what-
options.
what is
Do
this?
it. Start off small, and then grow and grow and grow.
Every single change in history has been slow.
More.
It is not
That's
just
not
being,
necessarily true. That's not
There-
necessarily
I think-
true. But the
okay,
causes of
okay.
an instant moment can change things, but the causes that it takes to
Yeah.
get there take longer.
Let's put it this way: in France, they started chopping people's heads off. It didn't quite work out great afterwards, but then they did it smaller and better, and you know, they got there. But yeah, it's if you
A lot
just
of people
jump in
got
big,
better. Got better.
Yeah. If you jump in big, you're going to make a lot of mistakes, and it's probably going to end up worse than what you started with. But if you start off small and do little changes, you can slowly get there.
If it ever was. A liberated society must overcome coercive hierarchical systems, including capitalism and the state, that exist to privilege the top and subjugate the bottom.
Oh,
If
ending
something is
capitalism
functioning
and
as
the state.
intended, then there is nothing to fix. Only some
Wait. Let's rewind.
It's
ending
exist
the
to
state.
privilege the top and subjugate the bottom. If something is functioning as intended, then there is nothing to fix.
he's making this statement. He keeps saying that capitalism is working as intended, but he still hasn't said why or explained what it was designed to do. He's just shown any evidence. He just said
he just
capitalism is
outlined it.
keeping people down. No, but all he said is capitalism is keeping people down, and it's designed to keep people down. And it's
so
designed
it's
to
working
keep...
as intended. Yeah, that's
but
what
that's
it's
not what
designed to
capitalism
do.
is designed to do.
Yeah,
It's
but
not-
that's what he's saying it is.
But he hasn't shown any evidence. Or
Well, his
properly
evidence
explained it.
his evidence was when he went to Montenegro and he saw how poor people in the rural areas were poor.
That ain't evidence.
But he's dumb.
Evidence of poverty.
I just want to get to what they want.
Evidence of the purpose of capitalism be to keep people down.
I want to no. I want to hear what he has to say after this sentence. Play it.
Only something to dismantle completely.
And?
Anyway, I'm an anarchist now.
Right. So he wants to tear everything down. That's what the whole video sums up to. I saw that the American system doesn't work. Now I'm an anarchist, so I don't believe in the state. And the whole point of that exercise in propaganda, and I'm convinced now that this guy went to other countries and learned while he was there.
Yep.
You know, it's one of the most the best cover story you could think of immediately is, oh, I went there and I taught English, but I didn't know the native language. Very interesting then. So this guy is a guy that goes, okay, I want to convert people to leftism. How do I awaken that? Well, I'm going to go through my process. I'm going to make the political personal. Here's how I got from X to Y to Z. And by the end of it, hopefully you'll see all of the same things that I see and you'll reach the same conclusion. So anarchy is the way to go. Now, what I want everybody to take away from that is that here's a guy whose entire worldview is based on saying, these are all problems and I can't fix them. I don't know how. We just need to take it apart. This is a man that has no solutions. None.
Yeah, like I said, no plan, no solutions, no nothing.
Just complaints.
What gets me about a lot of anarchists is, right, I don't agree with anarchy, but I'd probably thrive in anarchy. But there's people who would end up really bad in it because it's fucking anarchy and people are going to be like killing and shooting and everything.
Anarchy ends as soon as one guy has a team of people.
Control. Oh, yeah. This is what I mean. When you look at other people who are anarchists,
I think we should nuke the world and we all live in the world of Fallout 4.
Yeah, because you can have like a sarcastic dialogue option. I'm all for that.
I always love the sarcastic dialogue options. They're always the most hilarious.
Yeah. But anarchists, get your shit together and like go away.
Get your shit together and have a plan. Oh, but then it's not anarchy, is it?
Anarchy, yeah.
We got here from the 2000s presidential election in the US.
Yeah, to anarchy, yeah.
Yeah.
What's insane is the comment section. I think this is evidence that humanity is already failing as a society because the amount of people that fucking support this video.
Oh,
because it produced
Renegade Cut. The people who support this video are idiots who literally would go outside and get beaten up within 5 seconds. They ain't changing anything. They are literally just stuck inside going, yeah, we'll do all this. And then they have a panic attack over a phone call.
I'm a disabled trans girl living in decades of conservative government in the United Kingdom. What didn't radicalize me? Fucking comment, seriously.
Loads of my friends who are like supposedly anarchists and up for dismantling, capitalism, are literally the scaredy cats of the world who like have panic attacks over everything. They ain't doing nothing. They ain't reforming anything. They're just sat at home scared of a knock on the door by even like their best friend coming round. These people are just ridiculous.
All right, we got one super chat, one donation, and 20 seconds left. I don't think that's going to be 20 seconds, but we'll find out what he has to say. Let's get going.
This looks like it's credits, really.
Yeah, I think he's done. Jake the Surgeon, when the revolution comes, just remember who has the most guns, RC. Oh, dear. Yeah.
Yeah. Just keep in mind who controls all of the super high-tech shit and all the satellites. And think about, like, when people talk about civil war, they're always forgetting that other countries have a vested interest in who wins.
Who wins, yeah.
Here is Say No to Commies. Thanks again for your donation. You've been doing very well on the donation front. I always recommend people, if you want to give me money and get your thing read out in more time, go over to the StreamYards or the Streamlabs donation bit. It's always better than Super Chats just because the more money goes to me as
Message
opposed
coming
to
in.
going to YouTube.
Patching it through.
It's just more efficient that way. Also, you could do that with other people on this chat as well. Shiny has his own channel. Dunn has his own channel. I don't know if they have StreamYard's or rather Streamlab's donations, but I believe Shiny does, at least.
I do.
Yeah. Go straight to that, and it's always...
I have a Patreon as well, if you want to support me there.
So it's always a better bet if you want the money to go directly to the person. That's the best way because they don't charge you.
If you want to give me money, just attach it to a brick and throw it through my window. It'll be fine.
Please no brick throwing. It's not a. After this video, I know you might be inclined.
I've seen of Middlesbrough, that's normal.
Okay, so here's
Middlesbrough. What are you on about here?
Here's the donation. Right?
That was voiced. No, never mind.
Yes.
Yeah.
So global warming is going to kill you. Global cooling is going to kill you. COVID is going to infect you and kill you. Stay at, wear face diaper, or you kill granny, etc., etc., etc. Think about it. Okay, so I'm going to say I don't think the mainstream media is to that degree you think that they are terrorists. I think they're just misinformed. And they have an agenda
I think
like everyone else.
Maybe using the best interpretation of this is that they're people who are causing terror through misinformation.
Yeah,
I don't think they're terrorists in terms of actually causing terror through terror attacks.
I don't expect to see Tucker Carlson with a suicide list outside of Starbucks anytime soon.
Yeah, at worst, I would say they're pravdas of the government. Like we have the CBC, you guys have the BBC. There's CNN in the States and NBC and a bunch of left-leaning news organizations. So yeah, there's always mouthpieces for the government. That's always going to happen.
NBC owns our Sky News, I think it is.
Oh, really?
So yeah, they're all pretty much connected.
So we get a lot of our news. I get a lot of my news on YouTube because there's independent organizations that do their own journalism, and they're great. So sometimes they're bad.
I don't get any news because I don't care.
Oh, Shiny he's got to keep streaming his what is it? Your 3D real time body rig, whatever you call it. I don't know.
Yes, I need to stream more of my full body motion capture suit, and I'm gonna get facial motion capture working.
You're Shiny. Great. You should totally do exercise routines if that's what you can do. Like, just go for it. Go crazy. Just totally do like an hour's worth of exercise with the troopers. Like, morning exercise.
Right. This is the trooper exercise guide. Let's get going. You gotta bend those hips.
There you go.
Oh yeah, it's like doing what all the celebrities did.
Do like 100
pull-ups. Really stretch those arms. Like everyone's got like the VHS workout tapes.
By the way, everybody,
Shiny does.
I don't think that the Supreme Court rejected the case yet. It just said that the motion for leave to file a bill of complaint is denied for lack of standing, but the motion for leave isn't the same as the actual complaint of the bill.
That's what I thought. Yeah, I'm glad you had to look over it, Glib.
Yeah, I had to look it over
because I'm an expert on it. Yeah.
I'm so far away from a lawyer. I'm a lawbreaker, but the thing
you know more than me, Glib. I'm British.
Well, yeah, that's true. So, I mean, but the thing is when somebody said that, I went, that doesn't sound right. That doesn't sound like the court would just dismiss something out of opinion. And then I went, okay, so it's a spin. Somebody's spinning it. There's still, after that motion was denied and the dissent was recorded, there are other amicus briefs that are being submitted, which means that the case isn't over. The case would say the case is dismissed. And there are still motions being acted on after that. So that's interesting. And then there's another one that's being filed about L. Linwood. So if you're one of those people that's involved in the process, or you feel like you're emotionally attached to it somehow, and you're like, oh, geez, we lost. Don't worry about it. It hasn't even happened yet. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We haven't even begun to end this thing.
Is that...
let's put it this way. If it really was dismissed and all that, there'd be a hell of a lot more cheering and celebrating. It would be, there'd be a lot of different feelings on the news networks because, no offense, they are quite left leaning. They wouldn't be just going, it'd be all over the place.
Yeah, they can't last another 4 years, and so just pay attention to the motion for a preliminary injunction and for a temporary restraining order. We'll see what happens there.
Ooh.
But right now, no. Right now, it's just one thing that they asked for, which was to go against the normative procedure of the court, was denied.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, okay, There's no cognizable reason to do that? Okay.
So they'll just have to go by the normative way then. Is that what they're saying?
Exactly. Okay. They had no standing to ask for whatever it was, and there was nothing that but what I think was interesting about that is they did get a comment from Alito and from Clarence Thomas, and I was thinking, oh, it's interesting because a lot of the time what I've realized, because I haven't paid attention to court cases, I'm just learning the language and stuff, but what I've realized is that a lot of dissenting opinions are almost like advice for the lawyers. Like, yeah, it would have worked if you did this, or here's why we didn't. This is the secret information. So I don't know. Get hype. Stay hype.
Yeah, I'm going through court myself for stuff, and it failed earlier in the year. But like the courts, the judge and the courts, when they filled their thing, pretty much gave my team advice, as in like to help out a little bit. Say like, well, if you do want to appeal, this is where you failed on, and it's like nudging me to say, yeah, this is where you've got to work on. The rest of it was fine. This is what you've got to work on if you want to succeed. Because they don't want people to waste their time in courts, because it wastes a lot of people's time. So they'd rather you like be as good as you can. Because it costs money. So yeah.
Okay, Jake the Surgeon. Here's our last
backstory.
Here's our last super chat. We're going to continue on the last 20 seconds if there's anything to talk about. Renegade Cut. You know the saying: "Hippity hoppity, get off my property." Oh dear. That's talking with something else that I say.
Hippity hoppity, boom, get off my property.
Oh, he's done. Wow.
I'm surprised it's not like the Russian national anthem.
Yes.
Though it's not too far away from it. I don't know what the song is, but it sounds very similar.
It's French.
It's just like French or something.
It does sound French.
Yeah.
It's a foreign language. They're all the same.
So he just...
Smut could tell us because he's Canadian.
Mark,
so obviously he knows French.
You live in Hungary, don't you, Mark?
Yes.
Yeah, that's
he is Hungary.
Can you translate?
He's all the Hungarians.
You're mainland Europe. You can translate that.
Oh yeah, I know all the Europe.
Yeah.
I am all Europe.
That's not Europe.
Well, I can't anymore since Britain's left Europe. So I can't speak the lingo anymore.
Like the European Union is like the Borg. Like we are a hive mind.
All right, that was about 3 and almost a quarter hours of fun times with Renegade Cut. We always know what we're going to get into when we get to Renegade Cut. Lots of really slow talking with piano music about things I don't like because they're not political. On my terms.
I will say, we could have watched the existential emptiness of Sonic the Hedgehog.
Oh yeah,
that was an option, but unfortunately, idiot here said, "Oh, Renegade Cut, let's try that."
Hey, at least like now we know his backstory.
Now we have the lore.
Yeah. He can write a book about it.
No solutions, no alternatives, just I'm an anarchist. It's like, what? Because...
Yeah, why didn't he just start... Oh, I know why he didn't start with it, because it wouldn't have worked as propaganda, like Glib said. Yeah. But, yeah, as we went through that, you could tell they had no plans or any actual ideas or anything. It's just tear it all down. Oh, by the way, I'm an anarchist. Couldn't you tell? Oh, yeah, wow. Shocker.
Down. There's plenty of problems in various political and economic systems, but it doesn't mean they're inherently bad or good. They just have problems. They're not perfect. You don't replace... It's like you're throwing out the baby with the bathwater. You have to actually address the problems and come to solution. Have an idea, a test, an attempt, something that, maybe we should...
Have a plan.
Yeah, not just remove it.
Have a point.
Yeah.
Have a point. It makes things so much more interesting for the listener.
We've done this in history several times. Every time there's a regime change or a leader gets killed or some bandits take a villa over in Italy or something, it's like, oh yeah, what happened there? How did that occur? Well, we build bigger walls, and then we get spears, and then we We train people how to defend themselves. We do all these things. So we've gone through this hundreds and hundreds of years worth of evolution of how to
thousands of years worth.
Yeah, even that.
Yeah.
From the modern era, well, industrialization, what have you. But yeah, we've gone through these phases. We've tested and tried things. He didn't talk about communism, but I'm sure he's heard this before, that communism has not been tried before, or we've seen it done before. These things don't work for a certain reason.
I bet he's laughing. I was like, haha, I'm not a communist. I'm an anarcho-communist or whatever. It's like some combination, or I'm an anarchist. I'm not a communist. That's my kind of leftism. And I'm like, nah.
If you say anarchism,
there's no such thing as an anarchist place that exists.
Immediately
it doesn't.
After that is despotism. Like immediately after that. So
yeah, you can be anarchistic. I'm gonna go raise the hordes, and we're gonna come and kill and purge all of you after that.
Yeah, you could argue there's when there's a revolution in America, that was anarchy, and then it quickly defaulted to the next person in power or whatever regime was in power. So you have that. That's natural. We've had regime changes. We've had revolutions. We know how they look. They're not pretty. They're never pretty. I've never. Maybe there was a transition of power that was non-bloody, like from completely different political ideologies or what have you, or transitions to like I don't know. Democracy to Westminster parliamentary system in India, whatever you want to say happened in various frontier third world countries that Britain or America or whomever tried to conquer. We can see that. Okay, maybe they were friendly. Maybe. I don't know. But it never ends well. Someone lost power. Someone fought for it. Someone died for it. So he's not offering anything. He's not addressing the problem as a problem that needs to be fixed. It's just a problem that must be removed.
Capitalism is bad, and join me on Patreon.
Well, special thanks. Who do you think he's thanking here? Just people?
Money.
The people.
Thank you for the money so that I can eat. Because
thank you for the Patreon.
Here's his link on the left.
Thank you for living in a capitalist country to give me money.
I remember watching Sargon years back, and I liked his point of, well, if you really don't like society that much, maybe you should just go off into the forest and never be seen again as you just live off the lands.
And people have done that. Even capitalists. Even mayors of Minnesota. So.
But there's more than just things like anarcho-communist. There's a fucking ton of these anarcho groups.
Lots of
anarcho-capitalism is the best one I've ever heard.
Yeah,
there are no
anarcho-feminists who believe in taking down. Well, they're pretty much just actual feminism, really, but it's just taking down society to replace it with a more equal one. Yep.
There are no anarchistic political worldviews that make any sense or exist. They're like when you have when you look on the table of elements or whatever, and it has like unanubium or whatever, that's like anarcho-capitalism, because it only exists in a little vacuum for like 2 seconds or whatever before it becomes something else. Meanwhile, you have like the noble gases of republic and democracy and stuff that fit in, can be used for other things, and are stable.
And the beautiful thing, if we ever do want to try more idealized systems of anything, you have to have such a strong foundation, like capitalism, like a republic, like a constitution, to then say, okay, let's actually attempt some flavor of communism on top of what we've got. Let's try that. You can only do that with every single thing is working in perfect order. Then you could branch off and make another country or city state or whatever you want to do. That could happen, but not in my lifetime. There's too many problems. There's too many. You can't just break it down and say, let's try something from scratch. Nope, not going to happen. We've tried that. That's what they did in ancient Greece. When Plato wrote the Republic, he was actually writing a manual so for someone can start their own city-state down the road. It's like, just go over there. There's all these tribes. Go ahead. There's like 30,000 tribes. Go crazy. Make your own. And no one did it.
He doesn't want to be in the American tribe anymore, man. He wants to tear down the American tribe and be something else because he feels disconnected from it. But really what you see is the soft-spoken tyranny of somebody who wants control and power, and the system that they're in doesn't allow them to have that radical ability to do something.
Maybe.
So he retreats back into the mental space of anarchism, hoping that maybe he can rise above the rest.
It's like, if I had the button, what would I do? How could I help people? And my idea will help the most people. We've talked about this. We've read books about this. We've seen this in life. We've seen this reading anything by Ayn Rand, as crazy as her books are. She at least is consistent with saying this exactly the same thing in all her books. So it's always about how communism is bad and freedom is good, in various flavors of capitalism, of course. But still, she paints the picture of why and how in explicit detail, because she comes from those countries. She knew what it was like. She lost family members. People I've talked to are still no longer alive, of course, but they lived in those countries and they escaped those countries as best they could. They know how bad it was and why. And we have multiple studies by open market or free market economists who have studied this, who looked at why people started eating each other when food lines started opening up and resources were scarce to the point where you starve, killing or taking over all the farms, and then you have no farmers to farm the wheat, and starvation occurs. It's just basic economics. And if you don't understand that, all this crap about communism needing the poor to survive or to exist is ridiculous. It's such a falsehood. Such a strange thing to say. Anyway, I'm rambling. I'm sorry about that. Let's keep going. I think we're done.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys. That was pretty good. I wasn't expecting, because I know we had a big faux pas about Renegade Cut. We said, we probably won't do any more of his, but I kept it on the first docket. I never deleted it. And you guys, again, you guys all recommended it. You guys all voted for this. This was months ago. So I don't want to throw anything away.
God damn you.
You people, you wanted what you
I'm
got.
shaking my
I love
fist.
democracy.
You ordered a hamburger. I had to make you one. Oh my God.
God.
So come on to the Discord voting. This is the first channel, so I'm going to reset that tonight as soon as I'm done, and you can get back to voting. I still have to go through about 4 other videos for recommendations. I haven't seen the suggestions channel in about 3 days. I have to get back to that. But please send your suggestions. I'll probably go through them all on the weekend, and I'll add that to the docket.
Can we have like one like not good one, but competent one? Just one so that my brain doesn't go, well, I want to.
You don't have to be here, you know.
The gentleman.
Isn't that what the Smud Talks are for? Like, Smud Talks are just generally talking about topics which are more lighthearted and less sincere.
T1J was okay. Just that he was very vapid. Like, he just you could do something, you could not do something.
Oh yeah, his.
No, but Smudge, your idea of okay is less crazy.
That's true, but
still,
our standard for crazy is.
You think Maggie May Fish ain't that bad?
Okay.
No. She's really bad. I don't think anybody doesn't think she's bad.
No, don't talk about Maggie.
Anyway, it is December.
Flashbacks from last night.
It is December.
What happened last night? What happened last night?
No.
I watched the RoboCop.
Are we going to do anything for Christmas? Have a Christmas podcast?
Well, okay, we have to have movie night, guys. All right, we've got the movie. I have it on my computer. We can watch it anytime. You guys are busy. I know you're busy, but we have to have movie night.
Well, we're supposed to do it on Sunday. We're doing it on Saturday. Then we moved it to Sunday because of Voice, and then you cancelled that to do a Smudcast.
Someone said that I was the Jar Jar Binks of EFAP on the last video. That we
seriously,
yeah, from the Captain America punching Nazis video. I thought that was pretty funny. They were like, they were like commenting on all these posts. They like had all these timestamps of things that they were disagreeing with Smud, and then as soon as I got on, they just stopped. They quit. I love it. That's how it's done.
Go to the memes channel if you guys want to make fun of us. We always love it. It's always fun. Check it out.
I don't really check the comment section. I should start checking if people start talking about me. I gave up a long time ago.
I get off.
I want to hear all the horrible things. I know the horrible. I know the horrible things people say to my face, but I'm kind of interested in what they try and say, kind of behind my back.
It's fine. I don't mind. It's I don't mind anyone criticizing us. At least I don't. Maybe you guys might, but I think that's all in good fun anyway. I couldn't imagine talking to Renegade Cut on a professional way. It would just be too useless. Like his mind is made up. There's
Yeah.
really no point to arguing. So
It would be like talking to a wall.
yeah.
Yeah.
He's made his entire channel like this. So it's kind of like he's done.
I don't know, man. We can show the way of Allah to him. We can give him the.
This is the way.
Yeah, we
justice.
have standards for talking to people that we might cover, and we have to be strict because we've been very lax with that this year, and it didn't work out. So, as a group, as an individual, like there's certain things we should not do. Not communicate with trolls. We learned that lesson early. Not to listen to people who are promising things and they don't come on for weeks and weeks. Just people who aren't nice. Like we got lucky with that gentleman, the logic guy from philosophy.
Mark.
Was it Mark?
Or John. John.
Was it John? It was John.
Make
yeah.
stuff.
Make stuff. Yeah. He was nice. That was good. That was the only really good example I can cite that worked out well. Even if we didn't get to argue the point, but that was fine. We didn't want to start an argument. He was happy with what he liked about Star Wars. We were happy with what we didn't like. That's totally cool. So that's how it should go. Nice and friendly. And we haven't heard from him since, but that's fine. It's no hard feelings. We're good.
The best sort of people. Hear from them once and then that's it.
Yeah, like everyone I wanted to cover, like I would still want to, go to a bar if I had the freedom and buy this guy a drink if he drank and just say, hey, let's have a talk. That's just the kind of guy I am. And that's the best way to meet people, talk to people over a drink. So anyway, I'm rambling as always. Let's stop there. Good night, everyone. Thanks for listening. We'll talk to you real soon. We might have a game night tomorrow. I think you guys did not want to play Among Us. We want to play something different. Please tell us what. And join the game night.
Jackbox is an option.
Jackbox is totally an option. I know one person only has to buy it. They could share it with everyone. That's great. So please tell us that in game night. If you don't have access to game night, message me directly.
If only Jackbox weren't so fucking expensive.
Oh yeah, how expensive is it?
It's like I don't know. Like the packs can be worth.
Someone we know has got it. Who's offered to jump in, so everyone's got it.
Okay. Well, if you guys want to have a game night on a certain day or whenever, just tell us. Great, and we'll jump on. So yeah, good night. Have a great one, guys. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Good night.